get in here and let's be about the business. Get started in this really important conversation. Got a lot to talk about today, and really looking forward to the conversations. Um, Good morning, MG Brock. Good morning, Job Vibration. How are you guys? Good to see you all. Hey, Jay Nice. What's up, Yvette? Hey, David. Hope everybody is doing okay on this Friday morning. What's up, Sue? Hey, Stacy. How y'all doing? And giving it the best that I got. Love that. Good morning, Chris. Hey, Miranda, within one heart. What's up? How is everybody? Folks, if you are joining me anywhere other than TikTok, please say hi when you enter the chat so that I can greet you back, or I won't know that you've joined. Good morning, Darren. What's up, Christine? Hey, Ada, Katsmandu, Peacekeeper, Brandy. What's up, Sarah? Yeah, so as you can see, well, you guys can't see because I forgot to put my graphics up. Sorry about that over here on this side of the world. But here it comes. It is on its way. Good morning, Jody. How are you over there on the tube with the U? Glad to see you. Appreciate it, Penny GF. What's up, Win Dixie? Good to see everybody. I am very, let me put this other thing up over here, folks, and then we will be good to go. And switch these out. All right, perfect. Good morning, Kimber. All right, so good morning, folks. As you can see, I have a lot of things on the agenda to talk about today. I still want to revisit. Appreciate it, Jamie. Hey, Masani. What's up, New Row Mama? I still want to revisit the interview that was given by one of the commanders from the IRGC. And so I still want to talk about that interview again, just review it in light of all the things that are going on. Then look for the latest updates coming out of Iran. Morning coffee. I have tea today, Penny, with some honey. Appreciate it, Carla. Good morning, Philip. So I do want to talk about that, and then I want to talk about the weaponized Christianity and hate as a political strategy, because that's what I believe the GOP is doing. I believe that the GOP, as a major strategy and a lack of real record of success and a real successful position on issues and real policies that will benefit the working class, I believe that they are focused and they have gone just all in. Good morning, Lassine. On weaponizing Christianity, Islamophobia as a result, and hate as the strategy of the GOP. And it really doesn't matter where the hate lands, I don't think, for them. I think the hate can, yes, Butter's House, I have. And so whether it lands on trans individuals, members of the LGBTQIA, whether it lands on Muslims, whether it lands on Black people, immigrants, I don't think they care where the hate lands, as long as the hate lands and they feel like it mobilizes them and it gives their base something to be angry about and to quote unquote vote against, right? Good morning, Rocky Dean. And so I do want to talk about that because appreciate that, Philip. I think that it's incredibly important. And I love that you're listening to the podcast on Spotify, Be Action. Yeah. So for those of y'all who do not know, the podcast is back up and running. A new episode was put out earlier this week. And I'll put out some more. I'm also taking some of the snippets from our lives and putting them out as episodes for people to listen to, because I think that we have really important conversations sometimes on this app and in this space and across the board. And I think that it would be really good for people to be able to hear those when they miss them on the live. So that's happening. I do want to let you all know, good morning. I do want to let you all know some pretty exciting news. So last night when I was preparing the numbers for the Project for the People meeting, I discovered that we got our first sign up from someone in Wyoming. So that means we now have people in all 50 states that represent Project for the People. We are, as of today, in all 50 states. We have people in approximately, I haven't finished the count on the counties yet, but we are in approximately approaching 550 counties across the country. And to give you an idea, there's only a little bit over 3,100 counties in the entire country. So we are approaching 20% of the country. Having representation in 20% of the country in just 5 months is pretty fucking phenomenal. Right? At least I think it is, especially for something that is solely on the internet, solely like it's something that is just grassroots, just being grown through social media and through your efforts, right? So I'm excited about that. I will also share that I got a message. Oh, yeah, hold on. I need to put it up. Thanks for reminding me again. Thanks. I keep forgetting where TikTok put the new things. Give me a second. There it is. Got it. There. Yeah, you got coffee. I have tea. I have Russian tea and honey this morning in the cup. So yeah. So I will talk a little bit about Project for the People in a second, but just to let you all know that that's where we're at. We are like right at almost 1,500 people. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, Sarah, it's a board. And so listen, for those of you guys that are telling me about Florida's pole, I do not do the polar coaster. I don't ride the polar coaster. I do not listen to what the polls say, because polls are only as good as the people who give them, the people that are taking them, the questions that are being asked, and the formula for which they're done. I do need to ask Danikins today, how are we sitting in terms of a Pally panel today? Thank you, Scotty, for reminding me of what I was about to say mid-sentence. So I also got a message yesterday. So I have been invited back to Sirius XM Progress. Okay, no worries, Jamie. And good morning, Cheryl, and specifically to be on the Dean Abadallah show. So I am waiting to hear from them today to figure out which day and what time. Gotcha, Penny. Which day and what time is going to work best for me to be on the show. So I'm excited about that. I'll get another opportunity to talk to listeners about Project for the People. Gotcha, Candy Kiss. You're in, Spider. Okay, a little bit. Oh, love that, Carla. Gotcha, Butter's house. Cool, amazing. So, all right. So, so what we might do is we might do a smaller segment, and we might just do our folks that we know the most, just to be the most effective. And that's okay. We'll do what we can do. I will share that I passed on what was sent to me for WADMI. I passed on what was sent to me for Abu Siraj. And I also passed on what was sent to me. You said, you mean you got a little? That is so funny. Good morning, Tim. How are you? So yeah, so we'll do that. And I believe, just so that you all know, for anybody that's wondering, Abu Siraj only has about $300 left. He only has about $300 left to raise to be able to get his new solar device. So that's where he's at. His link is in my link tree. Okay. So, which I'm excited about, because when I first posted about it just a day or two ago, he needed 900. So, yeah. So, yep. And his link is also in the Discord. All right. So let's chat. Yeah, really good news. All right. So when I look at So first, let me also say thank you to those of you all who did your, how do you explain meager beginnings and later success? It's a very broad question in terms of what, Jana G, and meager beginnings and later success in with regard to what? Um, Good morning, Sassy. How are you? Okay, so let's just start with Iran because I think it's the easiest thing to start with and just um, address it, and then we can go ahead and kind of move on. Good morning, Preston. Appreciate you, Mel Gray. All right, so let's chat. Um, Financial success and security. Um, this might be easier if we do it with you on the panel. Can you join the panel that way we can talk it out? Yeah, the headphones were cute, weren't they, Candy Kiss? So is the four leaf clover, super cute too. Jana G, can you join the panel? And listen, TikTokers, appreciate you guys for popping up there, doing your daily heartbeat, and then claiming your points. Appreciate you doing that as well. So I don't know that I know exactly what you're asking me when you say how do I explain people's meager beginnings and their success in terms of financial stuff. I don't know that there is an explanation for it. I think it varies from person to person. I don't know that there's a singular thing that explains that and how it does or doesn't happen for certain people. You know what I mean? Good morning, Dolphin. Good to see you. He's so cute. That little otter is so cute. So yeah, so I don't really have an explanation for that. I think it varies based on the person and their circumstances and their situation. Okay, so let me grab this real quick. And can I just tell my mods something? You guys owe me a thank you today, moderators. Do you want me to tell you why? Because today I really was like in head wrap mode. I had my hair wrapped today, this morning when I did my reading and meditation time, and really that's how I'm feeling. So this is something that for me, whenever I have a lot going on and I need to kind of like drown out like my brain and get out of my head so much, I tend to wear my head wraps more. And so this morning, that's what I had on. And I literally almost went live with it on. And, and I have before, that's not a big deal. However, since we are discussing the Islamophobia, since we are discussing hate, I decided not to wear my head wrap today. And you're welcome. You're welcome for me not wearing my head wrap and attracting all of the hateful Islamophobic assholes on this here internet. So you guys are welcome. Because I literally took it off like right at the last minute because I was like, yeah, no, but yeah, you're welcome. All right. Um, um, oh, I love that, Candy Kiss. Tell your mom I said I appreciate that. Hope she's doing well. um, yeah. So, well, let's talk fried chicken. Let's talk about that. You wanna talk about my head wrap chicken? Come to the panel. Let's do it. Oh, I know, Titus. I know, 100%. Yeah, I know, Brandy. Oh, Lord, it's gonna be all right, y'all. It's gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. Okay. Yes, always was in the comments. Yes, you would have been 100%. Okay, so I just want to kind of give a little bit of update. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have been watching or not, but things have definitely been escalating in the West Bank. Um, some horrific things are happening with armed Israeli settlers and the IDF um, in the West Bank, even with them setting fires towards activists near Bethlehem. So this is something that has increased, that is getting really horrific. And there were Israeli forces also in Khan Yunis um, that have injured some Palestinians as well. Oh, I love that, Carla. I love that. And it has hit national news. And so this is something that I think is important. I think having the conversations and bringing the awareness to what's happening. Good morning, cuz in the West Bank is critical. And one of the reasons why, and can I share with you all things that might help your conversations around what Israeli settlers and what the IDF is doing in the West Bank. So things that I would give you is number one, Hamas is not in the West Bank. Okay. So it is important when people start to talk about, yeah. So Butter's House, I am incredibly excited about the movie Doctors that's coming. Um, and we can talk about it as well. But I really want you all to hear me about the West Bank. So the West Bank is governed by and overseen by, hey Mad Dog, the Palestinian Authority. So it does not have the same governmental leadership and structure as Gaza. Okay, and so it's important to remember that and to know that, so that when you're in conversations with people, hella Raja, so that when you're in conversations with people, any argument around Hamas or terrorism or whatever is a moot point when it comes to the West Bank. And the other things that have happened is Israel has seriously begun to encroach upon the areas which they have agreed not to be in the West Bank. So the West Bank is divided up into sections A, sections B, and section C. Section A is governed by the Palestinian Authority. C is Israel, and B is like kind of neutral territory. And they have continuously increased the things that they are doing in areas B and A. And so it's really important for people to understand that this is a flat out, full scale, unabashed push for Israel into spaces in the West Bank that they know don't belong to them, right? So I really want people, and I've given you guys a couple of folks to follow. The guy that I follow the most is Alexei K, Alex K. He is a European independent journalist who has been in the West Bank covering the things that are happening there a lot. And I mean, he's been arrested, he's been detained, he's been released, he's been hit, he's been all the things. And so he is firsthand accounts live and in your face to be able to see what's happening. But they are literally setting fires. For people that don't really understand, they are going after their livestock, they're going after their olive fields, they're going after their homes. So I'm going to give you one of the latest accounts. Okay, an armed Israeli settler has been filmed firing into the air and then pointing his weapon towards Palestinian and Israeli activists on privately owned Palestinian land near Beit Sahur in the southern occupied West Bank. About 100 activists, accompanied by the Palestinian landowners, what's up, Doug, had traveled to the site following a settler takeover of an abandoned building, according to the Times of Israel. Shots were fired after activists removed Israeli flags from the building and replaced them with Palestinian flags. The report added later that the IDF arrived and declared the area a closed military zone, but did not present an order or remove the settlers. So if you aren't up on what's happening in the West Bank, please get familiar with it. Please find out and learn for yourself what's happening so that you can be aware. Live music, you always end up in my requests, but then when I bring you up, you end up dropping. So I think that you do it by accident. But if you don't know you're in my requests, you are in my requests. And so I wanted to let you know so that you could check and just like remove yourself if you didn't intend to be in there. Okay. All right. Also, I want to give you guys I want to talk about a report that has come out. No worries, Dolphin. I want to talk about a report that has come out from B'Tselem. So B'Tselem is a human rights organization that is in the West Bank. Amal, we're going to try, but it's going to be pretty limited. People are strapped with kids returning to school, so it won't be until later on, and it'll be a little tight. So I want to talk about and share this report with you all from B'Tselem, which is a human rights organization that is in Israel. And so if you're not familiar with it, okay. So I want to share this with you guys so that you have the information. Okay. So B'Tselem is the website is btselem.org. And the report that I want to share with you all today is specifically about the things that are happening in the West Bank, but also the targeting of children and teens in the West Bank by Israel. So for those of you guys that are on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Substack, you're able to see this video. TikTok, you are not able to see it. But I will put the link to it in my link tree so that you can view it later. I'm just going to show you like what the beginning of it looks like so that you will know and you're able to see it for yourself. But this is the video. This is from B'Tselem's website. Okay. And this is specifically about Palestinian children and teenagers that were unalived in 2025 in the West Bank, not Gaza, but the West Bank. And I don't think that this is something that gets enough attention and that people are talking about enough and the impact. Okay. I'm not sure how long this one is because this. So listen, I'm going to give a trigger warning for those of you guys that can see. For those of you guys that can see the video, yes, you're right, Syrian Lulu. He was alive, and they absolutely did make him bleed out. You are correct. So I'm going to give a trigger warning for those of you guys that are on this side, and you can actually see the video. TikTok, you cannot see it because I can't show it. But what I'm doing is I'm adding it to my link tree. It's 1 minute and 41 seconds long, but I'm adding the link so that you can see it. When you say, how can human beings do this? I mean, they always have. How did human beings do chattel slavery? How did human beings do, child mutilation? Like they always have. Human beings, listen, this is both the beauty and the and the horror of human beings. We have the ability to do the most amazing, incredible, beautiful things, um, and also to do the most horrific, absolutely horrifying things. Okay. So, um, yeah, just saying. Yeah. Okay. So are you guys over here? Good morning. You guys, I want y'all to be okay and to be ready. All right. So this is your trigger warning. If you're watching me on Facebook, YouTube, Substack, or Twitch, I am going to share this video with you. I'm using it with fair use purposes. Gotcha, Oceanic. Appreciate it. And so I've also added the video to my link tree so that you have the ability to see it over there. Good morning, Alice. And here we go. I am going to talk and read the captions so that you guys over here know what is being said. There is a young boy that is on the ground surrounded by a bunch of IDF soldiers, and
الواد بعده بتحرك
boy is still moving.
بتحرك بعد.
And there's
طب الامبلانس يقدم ما هي صار يضوي له ضوى عليه اخذ واحد ثاني
in 2025, Israel killed 54 Palestinian children and teenagers. I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to make a decision. Can you all do your best to protect the live? Because I'm going to share the video. Okay. And if I get a visibility restriction and it hurts me, then I'll restart on TikTok. Okay. Just do your best to protect the live, but I am going to show it. All right. Okay, here we go.
الواد بعده بتحرك بعد.
طب الامبلانس يقدم ما هي صار يضوي له ضوى عليه اخذ واحد ثاني طاير فوق
مالك اخوي قوم يا اخوي يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله مالك حطوه
I did get a restriction, and that's okay. And so now what I want to do is I want to remind you of want to remind you of what Daniela White I want to remind you of what Israeli settler leader Daniela Weiss said about the killing of Palestinian children.
How do you feel about the fact that over 20,000 Palestinian children have now been killed since October the 7th in Gaza?
I think that the Palestinians, as you said, you see, I said Palestinians, the Gazans and all Arabs around should stop attacking Israel.
Right, I just asked you how you felt about 20,000 children being killed by the IDF. So how do you feel about that?
I think that the parents should be very careful before they teach the children to hate Jews and to kill Jews.
No, that wasn't my question.
I warn
that wasn't
Arabs.
My question. Sorry to be persistent, but my question.
That was your question.
My question was, how do you feel?
Answer.
My question was, how do you feel? How do you personally feel about over 20,000 Palestinian children now being killed since October the 7th in Gaza? How do you feel about that?
I think that Arabs, Gazans or Jordanians or Syrians, whoever, should be very, very careful with the way they educate the children.
Yeah, that wasn't my question.
Now,
that wasn't my question.
Many of them.
Can you answer my question?
Answer. That was my answer.
So you don't care?
Your question.
You have no thoughts about these children at all?
You choose your questions, and I answer them
of course.
The way I believe is right.
But just to be clear, you have nothing to say about 20,000 children being killed. Nothing at all.
I have a lot to say about everything that happened as a result of the massacre of the 7th of October.
I understand you care about Israeli
Arabs
children who died, as do I. But I'm able to care about both sides of children who've died. Why don't you care, seemingly, about the Palestinian children who've died? Why can't you express any sympathy or sorrow or empathy with the children who've died in Gaza? Are you able to do that?
I warn all Arabs from all sides, from all borders, warn them, stop educating children to hate Jews.
So just to be clear, I've now offered you three times.
I made myself very clear.
Oh, you've made yourself very clear.
You asked me 5 times.
I'm going to give you one last.
You asked me 7 times.
Okay, I'm going to give you one last chance to offer some empathy or sympathy or sorrow about the deaths of 20,000 children in Gaza. Are you capable of doing that?
No.
I can tell you that had you cared, and I don't believe you that you care a tiny bit about one killed person, if you do not use the means that you have as a media person to stop educating children.
I gave you 4 chances.
Jews. Okay, you gave me 7. You gave me 7.
And you know what? You couldn't give a damn, could you?
That you are to blame more than me.
You don't care, and all you want is all the Palestinians gone. You can barely even bring yourself to say their name. All you want is to take over the West Bank and Gaza. You don't care how many die in the process. You want them all gone. You don't care, do you? That's the bottom line.
As you said, the audience will judge.
Yeah, they will.
That is your reminder that what I'm sharing with you. Hello, Margaret. Hey, Marilyn. Good to see everybody. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. So I did get a restriction. So how about this TikTok? If I close down, can I just reboot real quick and you guys can come right back? I knew that I was going to get one, and I also knew that I didn't care. I also knew that it was going to be worth it to get it because I wanted you to see the video. Okay. So I'm going to close down and I'll be right back. All right, TikTok. For those of you guys over here, just to be really clear, I made that choice. TikTok doesn't like for you to show unoriginal content, even if you're using it within the framework of the Fair Use Act, which I'm allowed to do. Other people get away with playing videos for some reason. I don't. And that's fine. But I felt like it was important for people to see the video. And so, yeah, that's what I chose to do. Let me get this thing back up real quick. Appreciate you guys for coming back. It was worth it, Carla, right? Correct. And I'm going to be very transparent. Like, I'm already slightly emotional today. And that's fine too. I just want people to understand that it's not just Gazan children that they don't care about. It's any Palestinian children, West Bank, Gaza, it doesn't matter to them. They don't see them. I can pull up video after video after video of different Israeli officials, different people within the Israeli government who talk about Palestinian children as if they are not human beings, as if they are not children. And so it's just important, welcome back, for us to just be honest about that. Like, that's just a fact. And when she says, don't educate your children to hate or to kill Jewish people, and yet Israel educates their children to hate and to kill Palestinian children. Hey, Hussein. And I want to be really clear about something. Yeah, it's very inhumane. I want to go back to this report from B'Tselem. So since October the 23rd, this, for those of us who do not know, this report came out at the end of June of this year. And so here's what it says. Since October of 2023, Israel has been waging an extensive assault on all aspects of Palestinian existence in the West Bank, including, hold on one second. I want you guys to be able to see it too. Hey, Margaret, good to see you guys. There you go. Okay. I wanted you to be able to see what I'm referring to when I'm reading from. Okay. So this includes a broad, systematic violation of human rights. First among them, the most basic right to life. Lethal, unbridled violence employed by the Israeli regime's armed forces, including the military and settler militias, has led to an unprecedented increase in the killing of Palestinians, and particularly the killing of children and teenagers by Israeli forces. Over the course of 2 years and 8 months, from October 7th of 2023 to June 7th of 2026, Israeli forces killed 235 Palestinian children and teenagers in the West Bank. I'm going to say that again, 235. It's all right, Kathy. Appreciate you, by the way. 5 others were killed by settlers. And in 2025 alone, the year that is the focus of this investigation, Israeli force has killed 54 Palestinian children and teenagers in the West Bank. There is a map that's on here that I think is helpful for people to see it. And they actually have them so that you can, let me see if I can show you guys really quickly. So they have it so that you can click to see the children. So if you go here and you click this, you will actually be able to see the children and the information surrounding what happened with them. TikTok is really pissed at me for showing that video, y'all. If you guys can do me a favor, because you know we got the visibility restriction when I show the video. If you guys can help on TikTok and make sure that you are reposting, liking, and sharing, and doing all of those things, that would be really grateful. That'd be very helpful, because they do not like the fact that I showed that video and I'm going over this report, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. But we're gonna go over this report. I put the link directly to the YouTube video, but then I also put the link to the B'Tselem report itself in the link tree for you. Also, really quickly, I just want to let you all know we're going to be going through some very specific things around the midterms and Democrats that voted for particular members of this administration, this cabinet, and so I want you all to know that, so that you can be sure to tune in. Okay, so that's coming in just a little bit. Give me one sec. I'm rearranging these really quickly in the link tree. Thank you for requesting to be blessed and grateful. All right. Whoops. Okay. So, okay. You guys are just requesting to boost. Okay. So the unprecedented scale of killing of Palestinian children and teenagers by Israeli forces is the result of a reckless open fire policy expanded to be even more permissive than in the past that is currently being implemented in the West Bank. Those responsible do not try to hide this policy. Rather, they give it full systemic backing, as reflected in the remarks of Central Command Chief Avi Bluth, who publicly boasted, quote, "We are killing like we haven't killed since 1967. That's a quote. Appreciate you, Angie. And they've linked to the article and to the video where that's what this individual has said. So this is the IDF's West Bank commander, and that's what he said. So it's a lot, right? We are killing like we haven't killed since 1967. Bluth's claim that, quote, 96% of those killed were involved in terrorism, end quote, is an allegation exposed as a brazen lie by documentation of the circumstances of death in B'Tselem's list of Palestinian fatalities. So I don't know if you all know this or not, but B'Tselem actually has a list of the Palestinian fatalities that have occurred. And so in that list, they document who those individuals are. And there's an entire database. Can I show you? I'm going to show you all the database because you might be interested in this. So this is B'Tselem's database for the fatalities. So this is B'Tselem. These are the fatalities, and this is all of the data. So this is the Palestinians killed by Israeli forces. This is by Israeli civilians. This is the location, whether it's the Gaza Strip, whether it's the West Bank, occupied territories total, and then within Israel, inside of Israel as well. And so same thing over here. Palestinians killed by Israeli forces in the Gaza Strip, in the West Bank, total together, and how many have been killed in Israel. And this is the number, how many people, how many Israeli civilians killed by Palestinians, how many Israeli forces killed by Palestinians, and the totals are there. These are the folks who died while in Israeli custody or killed by an Israeli whose status is unknown, but it's a whole database. So I can also add the link to the link tree, although it is in the article that I already linked in the link tree. Okay. It also reflects the Israeli system's routine identification of Palestinians killed by Israeli forces as terrorists or quote unquote terror operatives, including civilians who were not members of an armed organization and posed no danger at the time that they were killed. This identification creates de facto systemic impunity for killing. The Israeli system does not stop at justifying these killings after the fact. It also refrains most entirely from holding the perpetrators accountable. According to data from the human rights organization Yesh Din, since the start of the war in October 2023, no indictments are known to have been filed in cases involving killings in the West Bank. Yet the immunity guaranteed in advance and the absence of any real demand for accountability after these crimes are committed are not confined to the legal sphere. They are also reflected in quote unquote public impunity that stems from the Israeli public's indifference to the killing of Palestinian children. In this context, the 21,000 Palestinian children that Israel has killed as part of its genocidal assault on the Gaza Strip since October of 2023. Oh, wait, that didn't sound right. Hold on. Let me read that sentence again. In this context, the sharp rise in the killing of children in the West Bank by Israeli forces cannot be separated from the more than 21,000 Palestinian children that Israel has killed as part of its genocidal assault on the Gaza Strip since October of 2023. The fact that even this inconceivable number has not led to public demands for a change in the policy of killing shows how far the dehumanization of Palestinians has gone in Israeli eyes. These processes are what enables a reality of killing children as a routine matter. And they do have the pictures of all the children. I'm going to give you the numbers and the fatalities. Let me just, yeah. Okay, so the scale of the killings since the start of the war in October 2023 recalls and even exceeds, relative to the length of the period, the scale of killing documented during the Second Intifada. In less than 4.5 years, from October of 2000 to February 8th of 2005, Israeli forces killed 251 Palestinian children and teenagers in the West Bank. Another 5 were killed by settlers during this time. So over the space of 5 years, right? Almost 5 years, from 2000 to 2005, Israeli forces killed 251 Palestinian children. What we know is that that number is 254 since October 2023. But this particular investigation by B'Tselem focuses on 2025, during which Israel killed 54 Palestinian children and teenagers in the West Bank. For comparison, from the end of the Second Intifada on February 9th of 2005 to the end of 2021, so almost 17 years, Israeli forces killed 194 Palestinian children and teenagers in the West Bank. 10 others were killed by Israeli civilians during that time period, and 2 more by an Israeli actor whom B'Tselem was able to determine whether he was a soldier or civilian. The years 2023 and 2024 saw a record number of child and teen fatalities. In 2023, 120 Palestinian children and teenagers were killed, 80 of them in under 3 months after October 7th. This is in the West Bank. No, Jeff, this is just straight out being killed by either Israeli settlers or Israeli military. This is not malnutrition. This is not anything else. This is specifically being violently killed by either the IDF or Israeli settlers. And so listen to this. The years 2023 and 2024 saw a record number of child and teen fatalities. In 2023, 120 Palestinian children and teenagers were killed, 80 of them in under 3 months after October 7th. And in 2024, 89 children and teenagers were killed. Although the number of Palestinian children and teenagers killed by Israel declined in 2025 compared to the 2 previous years, it remains one of the deadliest years recorded over the last 2 decades. Compared to the period between 2005 to 2021, in which an average of 13 Palestinian children and teenagers were killed every year by Israeli soldiers and civilians, the figures in 2025 more than quadrupled. In that year, 3 children between the ages of 2 and 9 were killed, 9 children between the ages of 10 and 13, 17 teens between the ages of 14 and 15, 16 teens aged 16, and 19 teens aged 17. Those are the numbers of fatalities by age. The spike in the killing of Palestinian children and teenagers in the West Bank began in 2022. So for anybody that would say, well, this is a response to what happened on October 7th, it's not true. The spike actually began a year before October 7th of 2023. So in that year, the number of fatalities more than doubled from 16 in 2021 to 34 in 2022. The increase coincided with the military's declared easing of open fire regulations at the end of 2021, reportedly permitting soldiers to use lethal fire against stone throwers. So previously there was a rule that if a child was throwing a stone, you could not use lethal force. Okay. At the end of 2021, the Israeli government got rid of that policy. And so all of a sudden it allowed the IDF to use lethal force against children that were throwing stones. And so under that, after that removal of that policy, right, we saw the number of Palestinian children in the West Bank who were killed by Israeli soldiers double, going from 16 to 34. The new regulations permitted use of lethal fire even at individuals fleeing after suspectedly throwing stones who no longer posed a danger in violation of international law. So what they did was at the end of 2021, Israel changed its policy and said, hey, listen, soldiers, if a child throws a rock at you and they run away, you can still kill them. That's what they said. You can use lethal force even if they're running away. After October 7th of 2023, the rules of engagement were expanded even further, leading to another sharp rise in fatalities. This escalation was fueled by desire for revenge and growing dehumanization of Palestinians in Israeli public discourse. So B'Tselem also put out a report in July of 2025 called Our Genocide. And there's a chapter in which it's called Incitement to Genocide and Dehumanization since October 2023. And there's a whole section in there specifically about this. From the beginning of 2025 through June 7th of 2026, Israeli forces killed 12 children and teenagers in the West Bank, including 2 brothers, 5 and 6 years old, in the town of Tamun, and a 7-month-old baby in the city of Hebron. If you guys remember the baby, I think most of us remember this. They were killed by Israeli forces who fired at the cars they were driving in with their parents. And in addition, a settler shot and killed a 14-year-old. So Ernie, let me be clear today in my dealings with you. That will get you permanently blocked from my fucking space. So this is your one and only warning, Ernie, on this subject right here. Any of that dehumanizing language and the dismissal over these children's lives will get you permanently fucking banned from my space. So you fuck around if you want to, but you will never be in here again. Taryn, yes, they are trying to eliminate all Palestinians. That's literally the definition of a genocide. No, he didn't. Guys, listen, I know who Ernie is. I don't need anybody else to tell me. Ernie is in here every fucking day. And Ernie knows I'm not playing. So I can handle Ernie, and you guys just listen to the info, okay? No worries. All right. Here we go. Great. You don't have to be. Now you can just be a believer. Blocked. Done. Okay. So what I'm going to go over the last bits of it, okay? Yeah. And let me tell you something, folks. I would have the same attitude talking about the deaths of children anywhere, by anyone, under any circumstances. Why? Because I'm concerned with humanity and human beings and human life, all human life. I do not celebrate death at all, even for people that I can't fucking stand. And for all children. Children get covered no matter what, because children have nothing to do with any of the bullshit that adults are perpetrating in this world. All children are covered. All children get a pass. All children get grace. All children. Because they do not deserve to die for the sins of their people, of the adults. Just so we're clear. But Selim's investigation of these cases found that only 2 of the 54 Palestinian children and teenagers killed in the West Bank in 2025 were armed with firearms at the time that they were shot. Another 4 threw improvised devices at Israeli forces, and 1 assaulted a police officer with a knife. 13 were shot while throwing stones at roads or at armored Israeli forces, with no injuries reported from the stone throwing. By contrast, at least 21 were not involved in any clashes, even when clashes were taking place nearby that included stone throwing, hurling explosives, or live fire. Regarding 12 minors, the military claimed that they had tried to injure forces by throwing Molotov cocktails, IEDs, or stones. But Selim's investigation could neither verify nor refute this claim. Another teen was the object of a targeted killing. 47 of the children and teenagers were killed by gunfire, and the remaining 7 in airstrikes. 11 of the children and teenagers were killed by gunfire from military ambushes. In these incidents, 2 were shot while throwing stones at a road. Throwing stones at a road. Regarding 2 others, the military claimed that they had been throwing stones, but Selim's investigation could neither verify nor refute those claims. 1 was shot while passing near a spot where soldiers were lying in ambush and was not engaged in any activity. And 6 were killed after the military alleged they had thrown Molotov cocktails, and that Selim's investigation could neither verify nor refute the allegations. 9 other minors, including 2 girls, were killed during military raids on Palestinian communities. No arrests were carried out during these raids, and no clashes developed. 1 was killed inside her home, 2 were killed near their homes, 4 were passing by, and 1 teen was killed at his workplace. Regarding the latter, Selim's investigation could neither refute nor verify the military's claim that he had tried to, sorry, I saw an account come in that I just need to take a look at, because I don't think this individual. Mods, I would like for you to pay attention to Ethio, please. I'm not sure if Ethio is a backup account for Ernie. Good morning, Gumps. Yeah, Shug. Well, if you always leave depressed, that means you don't stay long enough for all the things, because we do a lot of things that aren't depressing. And so this is one of the things that I say when I think about how heavy this information is. Number one, whatever I feel in this moment today, reading this information, sharing this information, is absolutely nothing compared to what the parents in Palestine and in the West Bank, what in the West Bank and Gaza feel. It's nothing compared to what they live and what they experience. And I really truly believe that part of where we have to go as a society is, so how many people, let me just ask this question in the chat. How many of you all did not know that there was, that the death rates and that the aliving of Palestinian children in the West Bank was this high, was this significant? How many of you all did not know that the numbers had reached in the hundreds for Palestinian children and teenagers in the West Bank? How many of you did not know that Israel has a policy that their soldiers are allowed to kill children for fucking throwing stones and running away? And I think that these are the things that we should know if they want their military to somehow have anything to fucking do with our military. I think that these are things that we should know if we're going to have senators saying, I want to be the most pro-Israeli senator in Congress. I think that everyone should know that this is the policy of the government of Israel. If this is supposed to be an ally that we want to take from a special relationship to strategic partnership, we should fucking know that they are committing human rights violations as a matter of fucking policy against children. And everyone should know, and everyone should talk about it. While there are people that want to hold on to their military superiority, Pine, let's talk about it. Pine, you'll join my panel or you'll be muted, because I can't invite you. You got your account set to private. So if you want to talk to me about Iran, let's go. And I hope that you have your sources and your facts and your information ready, because I do. And I will, in all time, in all cases, every single moment. So if you want to fucking talk to me about what Iran does or doesn't do with regard to children, let's go. Because I will also tell you what Israel does. And I will tell you what the United States of America does. And I will give you a source to back up what the fuck I'm saying. Matter of fact, I can give you multiple. But what you won't do is spew nonsense and bullshit in my chat and not be fact checked. Four minors were killed during arrest operations. Well, I just told you, Pine, either join my panel or the next thing that you put in my chat, you will be muted. This is Bet Salem. This is the actual human rights organization located in Israel, Crystal. And I've put a link to this report in my link tree. You're welcome. Don't anybody else talk to Pine. Pine, if you believe what you're saying and you can back it up, join this panel, because if not, you're about to be muted. No worries, Michelle. Yep, there you go. So let me just go ahead and help you right now. Doo-doo! Done. Listen, that's how you can take out the trash. Just saying. Well, if you're driving, Randar, I don't know how you're driving and texting. It's not very safe. So I don't recommend it. Four minors were killed during arrest operations. One was the target for arrest. One participated in exchange of fire during the operation. One threw stones at a military jeep, and another was just passing by. 7 minors were killed in airstrikes. 1 had planted an IED. 2 were mistakenly identified as having planted IEDs. And 4 were in the yard of their home or on the street when they were killed. 2 other minors were killed after attacking or allegedly attacking Israeli forces. 1 attacked a police officer with a knife. The military claimed that the other had tried to run over a soldier, but Selim's investigation found that this allegation does not align with the facts. 18 other children and teenagers were killed during clashes. Of these, 12 were killed in clashes involving only stone throwing. 8 threw stones at military or police forces, including 4 who threw stones at armored military vehicles. 2 threw stones at homes being raided by soldiers, and 2 threw stones at soldiers or police officers, with one of them starting while the forces were inside an armored jeep and continuing after they got out. 3 of the teenagers did not take part in the clashes at all, and in another case, it is unknown whether he participated. 6 other minors were killed during clashes that also involved the hurling of IEDs or live fire. 1 took part in an exchange of fire. 3 hurled IEDs. 1 did not participate. And so here is the thing. What I am so grateful for is Bet Selim's total investigation as to what people were or were not doing. And this, to me, is what adds to the credibility of the report. If this report had made the claim that absolutely no one was doing anything, which could be true, right? It would give more room for speculation, right? But when we are saying, no, there were some of them that were involved in something, that adds credibility to the information that you're getting, because there's not a narrative or an agenda that you're trying to push. You're saying, hey, these are the facts. In nearly a quarter of the cases involving 13 children and teenagers, the military delayed or completely prevented medical teams or local residents from reaching the wounded persons to provide first aid or take them to the hospital. I'm going to repeat that. In nearly a quarter of the cases involving 13 children and teenagers, the military delayed or completely prevented medical teams or local residents from reaching the wounded children to provide first aid or take them to the hospital. Right, Jen, deliberate indifference. In at least 4 cases, access was blocked for several minutes, including one case in which soldiers raided the clinic. Soldiers actually raided the clinic to which the wounded child was taken and held up his transfer to the hospital. In 4 cases, access was denied for a prolonged period of time, between 20 to 40 minutes. And in another 5 cases, access was denied for an unknown period of time. In at least 9 cases documented by Bet Selim, soldiers fired live shots in the air or at residents and medical personnel to keep them away from the wounded persons. In cases where soldiers removed the wounded from the scene themselves, Palestinian residents and medical teams were completely denied access, and it remains unknown whether the military provided any medical treatment before the victims were declared dead or made any other attempt to save their lives. I want you all to remember that we are talking about children and teenagers. As of June 6th, 2026, Israel was still holding 18 of the 54 bodies, preventing their families from burying them and saying goodbye. as of June 6, 2026, Israel was still holding 18 of the 54 bodies, preventing the children from being buried by their families. This forms part of Israel's long-standing policy of withholding bodies, which is inconsistent with international law, denying families the right to bury their loved ones, observe mourning rituals, and visit their graves causes immense suffering, all the more unbearable when the deceased are children and teenagers. So again, this report is in my link tree. It is available to you along with the video that I shared at the beginning before I had to restart. For those of you who don't, I don't know, maybe if you're new to this conversation, but this is a well-known tactic of the Israeli government. Psychological warfare is a really big thing for them, and in terms of what they do and how they treat people. So yeah. And for those of you all who do not know, for decades now, the IDF has been training our police. So police forces all across the United States of America have been getting training from a terrorist organization that human rights organizations and criminal justice systems internationally all say commit human rights violations, crimes against humanity, and war crimes. And those are the people that the American government has training our police officers. I'm just saying that it might have something to do with why things. Anyone, time and place to watch debate? That's today. Don't know anything. I don't watch Candace Owens. So I would imagine that if you subscribe to Candace Owens, you'll be able to watch whatever debate she has, wherever she has her debate. Okay. Great. The other thing that I hope you do with this information is I hope that you share it, and I hope that you talk to your family and your friends about it. Right? It's not enough just to know. We have to share this information. Shit, I'm just saying, like, anybody know where I can watch Candace Owens debate? Fucking subscribe to Candace Owens and you'll know where she's debating. Listen, here's my feeling about Candace. I believe that Candace Owens is smart and intelligent. I also believe that Candace Owens is a fucking sellout. I also believe that Candace Owens is correct when it comes to her assessment of this. And when I say this, I'm not referring to Charlie or anything specific, but her general sentiment regarding Israel, right? I also am like, yep, okay, at least she knows what side to be on that issue, right? I also think that her step and fetch ass has found out just how far she can and can't go before they throw her ass to the curb, which is what they did. And good. You reap what you sow, Candace. And that's that. That's my feelings, okay? So, moving right the fuck along. On that note, let me make sure I didn't have anything else. Okay, so I think that is it on the West Bank, Israel, that side of the issue. I think that's the report that I wanted to go over. It's in the link tree. Please utilize the information and make sure that the people in your life are aware and they know about it. And then you might want to be contacting your elected officials and asking them about it. So if you happen to have a state representative or a member of Congress that is supportive of the Israeli government, that would be a great report to send to them. That would be a great video to post and tag them in and ask them their opinion. Do they support, do they agree with the killing of 54 Palestinian children in the West Bank in 2025? Do they believe with Israel's policy for their forces that they can use lethal force against children for throwing fucking rocks, even if the children throw the rock and run away? That's a question for your members of Congress. That's a question for your elected officials. If you're going to stand in my face and tell me you support the government of Israel, then I'm going to ask you about the specific policies of that government, and you're going to have to account for your fucking position on them. It's not just about, do you take AIPAC money or J Street money or NORPAC money or whatever. It is about, are you opening your mouth and saying, for example, like Haley Stevens did, I'm a Zionist Democrat. I don't even know how the fuck that works, because your Zionism should have nothing to do with your position in Congress. Around 7. Hold on, that is Sirius XM responding. Give me 1 second. Yep. So let me just say this, okay? If you are an elected official and you are a Zionist, that is I believe that should be your personal opinion. That should be your personal ideology. That should not have a fucking thing to do with the politics of the United States of America. No, Michelle, I've been invited back to Sirius XM Progress. I will be on the Dean Abdallah show again next week. And so they're just verifying for me the day and the time. That's what this is. But I'm going to repeat what I just said again, because this is important. If you are a Zionist as an elected official, that should be your personal ideology. That should be what you believe in your heart. And it should have absolutely nothing to do with the policies of the United States of America, because your Zionism has nothing to do with what's in the best interest of the American people. Tell me how Israel having land or not having land or whatever benefits the fucking American people, because I've yet to see it. I don't see American citizens, working class Americans throughout this country benefiting because of Israel or because of Zionism. I don't see that as a thing. Share with me how our special relationship with Israel is helping us get fucking health care in the United States of America. Share with me how our special relationship with Israel is helping us get fully funded public education that teaches accurate history, that helps our children compete globally around the world. It doesn't. Share with me how our special relationship with Israel helps the average Americans in this country afford fucking housing and keep a roof over their head. It doesn't. Share with me how our special relationship with Israel helps you when you pump your fucking gas, when you pay your bills, when you want to clothe your children, when you need to get school supplies, when you need to farm, when you need to buy land, when you do, like, share with me. Oh, wow. All right, so 1 week from today, Sirius XM Progress, which is channel 127. I will be on right around 7:15 that evening, and they're going to give me a long segment that just says they're going to do a break before my segment, so we can do a longer segment, and we can go, quote unquote, as long as we need. So there you go. So what is that? On the 21st? August 21st. Okay, cool. Right? Now, do I have folks that have requested up, what's up, Abu Beings, that have something that you would like to say, or you disagree with me, or you have concerns about the report that I just went over from Betsalem, or the information, or what I just said afterwards, and you have requested up. So Lucid, it is on Sirius XM Progress, but what typically happens is after that, so here's what I typically do. I normally will host like a little Google Meet, and subscribers can join me so that you're on that, and so you can hear me when I'm doing it. So it's not live streamed, but you can actually hear it. And then they will typically either send me a recording or they put it out on the podcast, and you can listen to it then. But yeah, it's Sirius XM Progress, channel 127. It's the Dean Abdallah Show, and it'll be 7 p.m. 1 week from today. Okay? All right. I'm guessing nobody wants to have the conversation. Okay, cool. I'm cool with that. Yep, you're welcome. All right, so let me. I want to share something that Iranian leadership has said in the last hour or so with regard to us. So, if you remember the interview that I played yesterday with with one of Iran's commanders that he did, and he talked about, and he was specifically asked about their missiles, right? And he was asked, like, where do you make them? Which I think is a dumb ass fucking question to ask, because it's not like he's going to say, oh, this is where we make them. Here's the longitude and latitude of where we are. Whatever, no. But they were asked about, like, okay, so what's your capacity? And if you remember yesterday, in that interview, we heard him say, listen, we make more missiles every day than we use, right? So another statement has come out from Iran's Guardian Council, and this is what they said. Ahmad Khatami from Iran's Guardian Council and the Assembly of Experts says the U.S. has failed to destroy Iran's missile capabilities, which has, quote unquote, humiliated America and will continue to do so, end quote. The enemy, quote, the enemy wanted to return Iran to the Stone Age, but today the world has realized that the American government itself knows nothing about civilization and democracy. And in practice, it is America that is displaying behaviors that belong to a past era, end quote. He told Iran's state TV. Despite U.S. and Israeli attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities, quote unquote, our nuclear capability still remains. Our nuclear power belongs to the country's scientists and nuclear knowledge. He ain't lying. Oh, Godson, now you know not to type in all caps. If you do it again, I'm just going to go ahead and block you right now. So if you come in here acting like a petulant child, you will be blocked. So if you type in all caps again, you're going to get blocked. So choose. And I don't know what God you're the son of, but let me just be clear. It isn't the God of the Bible. Let me just be very, very clear. Okay? If by God you're referring to Christianity and Jesus, yeah, nah. You might want to go to Matthew chapter 7, verses 21 through 23. That's you, bruh. That's you. So, okay, next. So how many of you all remember the reports from March of this year and then the most recent reports about our own depletion of supplies? How many of you guys remember those reports? So if you remember in March, there were reports that we had blown through about a third of our Patriot missile supplies. And then recently, the reports about our long range missiles and our depletion in those numbers. Okay. So, and this is just my thought because I pay attention. Okay. So let me give it to you. So give me a second. Right, we cannot. And I am looking for that's the other one. Boy, boom, got both of them. Whoop, whoop. All right, so here we go. You guys ready? So here's the information. Yeah, no, I'm not subscribing. I'm not subscribing. Not doing it. Yeah, so George, I'm not sure what you're talking about in terms of CNN. CNN is not a source for my information. I don't know if you watch CNN, but I do not. Hello, Alani. All right. So here's the information. Hey, good morning, Nance. How are you? All right. So here's the information. So if you are not familiar with the CSIS, George, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I still don't know what you're talking about. CNN didn't interview the IRGC commander. CNN did not interview them. PBS NewsHour did. I don't know, James. Did you do any homework today? Did you do any homework? You're asking if you're allowed on the panel. I don't know. Have you done any homework? So the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, published a report April 21st of 2026. Okay. And this report is really important. And so I want to show you what we've got. So listen, so for some people who go, how do we know this information? Okay, so remember, we have a Congress that has oversight of our departments of y'all let me talk to James. I got James. Y'all don't worry about it. But so we have a Congress, and so we have accountability. And so when organizations and when citizens want to kind of get information, they just use a FOIA request and they get that information. And you might not know the exact numbers, but you have access to reports, you have access to information, and it gives us an idea based on publicly available information in congressional oversight. Okay. Abu Binks, yes, I agree. And so I'm going to share this report with you all from CSIS. Okay. And this is it. So this report came out in April of 2026. Like I said, it is from CSIS, which is the Center for Strategic and International Studies. And the name of this report is called Last Rounds with a question mark, Status of Key Munitions at the Iran War Ceasefire. So concern about the status of U.S. munitions inventories has intensified as reports emerge about high expenditures of Tomahawks, Patriots, and other missiles in the Iran war. As Operation Epic Fury remains paused, I just want to call it Operation Baby Carrot energy, but whatever. As Operation Epic Fury remains paused in a shaky ceasefire, there is an opportunity to assess whether the U.S. military nears the point of going, quote unquote, Winchester or running out of ammunition. This report is from April of this year. Okay, so I'm going to talk about two different things. I'm going to talk about this report from April, and then I'm going to talk about the latest report from August. Okay, I'm just saying that's what it is to me. It's Operation Baby Carrot Energy. Analysis of 7 key munitions shows that the United States has enough missiles to continue fighting this war under any plausible scenario. The risk, which will persist for many years, lies in future wars. Okay. And they are correct in terms of the amount of usage. So I want to show you what this looks like. Do you remember the reports that we had used about 30% of our Tomahawk missiles? They're right. We had. So if you look, this was in April. Tomahawk missiles, they cost $2.6 million to make. We had approximately 3,100 in the inventory at the beginning of this Iran war, and we used 1,000 plus in the first 30 days. To replace them takes 47 months. Y'all see that? Yeah. Our JASSM, 2.6 to make, right? 4,400, we used a quarter of them in the first month. Same time frame to replace. So this data, right, Marky, it's compelling. It makes you go, holy shit, right? Jay Bird, yeah, I talked about it yesterday. Yep, that is 4 years. 48 months is 4 years. Okay. And our Patriot missiles, listen to our Patriot missiles, because this one is going to make you go, oh shit. So Patriot missiles cost $3.9 million to make. We had an estimated pre-war inventory of 2,330 of them. In the first 30 days of this war in Iran, we used somewhere between 1,060 and 1,430. I'm going to repeat those numbers because they're really important. Patriot missiles. Prior to the Iran war, we had approximately 2,330. In the first month, we used between 1,060, just under half, or as many as 1,430, which would be more than half. And our delivery timeline is 42 months to replace them. Here's some more information. In the 39 days of the air and missile campaign before the ceasefire, remember this report is from April, U.S. forces heavily used the 7 munitions in Table 1. For 4 of them, the United States may have expended more than half of the pre-war inventory in fucking 30 days. Rebuilding to pre-war levels for those 7 munitions will take from 1 to 4 years as missiles in the pipeline are delivered. These missiles will also be critical for a potential Western Pacific conflict. Even before the Iran war, stockpiles were deemed insufficient for a peer competitor fight. What does that mean? What does that mean? What's a potential peer competitor fight, y'all? Who falls into that fucking category? Russia, China. That's considered a peer competitor fight. So prior to this war with Iran, our stockpiles and our inventory was already considered to be insufficient if we were to get into a fight or a conflict directly with one of our peers, that being Russia or China. And also understand that it is both Russia and China that support Iran. So what's the advantage here? If you put on your thinking cap, which I don't know that that the Secretary for the Department of Defense has a thinking cap to put on, or if his thinking cap fucking works or whatever. But if you think about this, then what you would have understood when you thought about the potential. So, because let me tell you something that I hear MAGA and Trump supporters say a ton. Here's what those folks say a lot. I hear them say, oh, Donald Trump is just doing what everybody else, what all the other presidents said we should do, or said they would like to do. How many times have you heard a Trump supporter or a Republican or a person who identifies as MAGA say, oh, Donald Trump's just doing what everybody else said that we should do, or said they would like to do? Hillary Clinton said she would like to do it. So-and-so said they would have liked to do it. You hear them say it all the time, right? Listen, I would like to do a lot of shit, but there's a reason I don't. Right? And you have to ask yourself, if the majority of the presidents in history have said, oh, I would like to pick a fight with Iran, but I haven't, there's probably a really strategic, reasonable reason why we haven't done such a thing. And you might want to consider what that is before you just go willy-nilly off, firing off fucking weapons and starting wars. But this administration didn't do that, right? Just saying. And there's a difference between being scared and being fucking smart. Just saying. Yeah, so Vegas, let's talk about that. You said, so let me tell you guys over here what he just said. He just said, quote, because Trump's got the balls that others didn't. I would agree. I just think that those balls are shriveled, wrinkled up, old as fuck, lack testosterone, and are draining from any functional intellectual capacity. That's what I think about those balls. Yep, I agree. I think he's got some that nobody else had, which is why we are in this fucking position. I didn't call him any names. I described what the balls are. You brought up balls. I expounded upon my belief about the balls. If you don't want me to talk about the balls, then don't bring them up. I did not call POTUS a name. I described what I believe the impact on his balls are. Just saying. Here are the facts. The facts, George, are that we have an incompetent administration that has gotten us into a war with Iran with no strategy on how to win and no exit strategy on how to get the fuck out, to the detriment of the American people. And it has left us grossly inadequately prepared for anything in the future. It has made us vulnerable to our competitors, to our peer competitors. Well, Vegas, come on. So y'all, George is okay. It's G Vegas that had what he had to say. So G Vegas, I'm going to give you an invitation to join the panel if you would like to talk about it. Let's go. Let's have a conversation. You and I can have a fact-based conversation about the war in Iran, our munitions, our stockpile prior to the war, our stockpile today, our strategy for being in it, the condition of our troops, the impact on oil and gas, and the impact on our national security and international security as well. So let's go. But you won't. You're going to sit in the chat and hide behind a fucking keyboard because you don't have a clue what you're talking about. Oh, you have a meeting in a few minutes and you were scrolling away? Sure. Okay. I'm sure that's what it is. I'm sure that's what it is. Oh, let me help you get to your meeting, beloved, because I'm here to help. Okay. So again, the point that I really want people to understand is like where we are and how significant this is. So in this report, which I can also throw into, you can't, Scott, I'm just saying. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm also going to throw this report into my link tree. Gosh, y'all. There's so much in this link tree. Trying to figure out like where the best place for me to put it is. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put a collection at the top of the link tree that just says recent topics, so that it might not be any one particular subject, but you'll know that it's things that I talked about. I know I need a table of contents tree. But let me just do this. And that way you will know. So this is the CSM munitions report. Okay. All right. So I've put this in here as well. Okay. So you guys can find that. I'll work on the link tree as best I can this weekend. It won't be until Sunday though. Okay. Hey, Michael, good to see you. All right. So really quickly, I am going to venture into the bring the people up on the panel segment and have some conversations. All right. When I bring you to the panel, put yourself on mute until I get to you. Do me a favor, for everybody that has requested up, can you check your TikTok at the bottom? And if your little people at the bottom, if your people at the bottom are pink and blue, that means you have not requested up. And if you desire to request up, click the little pink and blue people or this box right here that says request. If it's grayed out, that means you have requested up. So if you have requested up and it's grayed out and you do desire to join the panel, can you throw a heart in the chat for me right now so that I can just identify you? Because I know some of you have requested, but you're just requesting to boost the live. So can you do that for me? No worries, Jesse. Okay, I see you making magic. Anybody else that has requested up that wants to join the panel, drop a heart so I can see you, please. Yep, Tori, it's 11:11. All right, Making Magic. Good morning. What's up?
Good morning, my friend. I'm going to make it really quick, because I know your time is precious. The other day I was scrolling through TikTok, and as we all know, tensions are high. I'm in Michigan, so tensions are high in Dearborn. On the 18th, they are having a city council meeting, and the police chief has asked if you do not have business with the city council that night to please stay away, because they have credible information that outside groups are planning something, and they are trying to de-escalate the situation before it even happens. So I know that you have a large following. So I'm just trying to get up on panels to make sure that the Michigan people that live in that area, if you do not have business with city council, please just stay home. They were just trying to de-escalate it. So I appreciate you letting me up to say it, because we all kind of can figure out what's going to go on with these outside groups. I'm not going to say their names because I'm not going to give them the energy.
Yeah.
But that's all I wanted to say, and I appreciate you letting me come out.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome, and thanks for letting people know. Listen, and this is a great chance for me to just reiterate, folks, that there is a difference between good trouble. Good morning, Dr. Emmy, and good necessary trouble. Just because the trouble is good, just because it would be trouble, doesn't mean that it's necessary. And what you want to do is find a balance at all times, you all, between good necessary trouble and putting yourself in potentially dangerous situations or even escalating situations where you don't need to. Okay? So, appreciate you.
No problem. Have a great day, Jamie.
All right, you too. Buenos dias, triplet. Does that make sense, folks? I want you all to really be thinking about what is good trouble, what is good necessary trouble, what is good necessary trouble that keeps you safe, and what is trouble that maybe isn't necessary and could escalate things. There are people that would love to escalate things to achieve a particular agenda and to derail or to be able to say anything. And so you want to make sure that we just don't engage in those things. Do not fall for the okie doke. Do not get rage baited. Do not get into a situation. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Okay? So just keep that in mind, folks. All right? Okay. This one right here is going to get blocked because you're not the real deal. Okay. Yes, a cost benefit risk assessment. You got it. Good morning, Michael Anthony. Hey, Tiffany, what's up? Okay, so just to recap, if you are just joining, we covered a report this morning. We covered a report this morning from B'Tselem that came out at the end of June of this year, specifically about the, Cam, I blocked him. But we cover this report from B'Tselem specifically children in the West Bank and its soldiers. The link to both the video and the report are in my link tree. If you missed that, it's really important, really significant information. And just for the record, the increase in the targeting of Palestinian children in the West Bank began in 2022, a full year before October 7th. Okay. Second, what we're going over now is a report from the Center for Strategic International Studies. It is specifically with regard to the munitions for the United States of America, what we do and don't have in our weapons arsenal. What did we have pre-Iran war? What did we have after just the first 30 days of the Iran war? And what do we have today? So this study, this report is also in my link tree for you. And it's pretty significant. And so I'm just going to share my screen with you guys one more time and go over just the overview of it. But to give you an idea, after just the first 39 days, for our Tomahawk missiles, we had approximately 3,100 of them in inventory. We used over 1,000 of them in the first 30 days, and it takes 47 months to resupply, to deliver them. Same thing for our JASSMs. Our Patriot missiles, we had 2,330. We used somewhere between 1,060 and 1,400. So potentially more than half of them, and they take 42 months to deliver, to replenish. This is significant because even prior to the Iran war, what our stockpiles were considered insufficient for a competitor peer conflict. So that would be a conflict with Russia or with China. And the fact that it is even less than now is even more significant and serious. So what do we need to think about that? And James, I'm coming to you in just a second. So what I was saying prior, just a few minutes ago, is that, we need to be thinking about the fact that China does support Iran. China buys 90% of Iran's oil, right? Russia supports Iran. It is advantageous for those two powers to prop up and to help Iran and to have this drawn out as long as possible, because it continues to deplete our resources and our abilities to defend and navigate any potential conflicts with those individuals. And that's significant when you think about Taiwan. That's significant when you think about Ukraine and Poland. It's significant. And so I really want people to stop and think about that. So diminished inventories will also affect the U.S. supply of Patriot, terminal high altitude area defense, and precision strike missiles to Ukraine. So listen, when we have diminished inventories, it impacts what we're able to send to Ukraine and other allies and partners that use them. Okay? Right, Scotty, it opens doors. So I just think that it's really important that people, you don't have to know like all the complexities of it, but you do want to understand what we've done and how significant it is, and the level of incompetence that it fucking takes at the highest levels of leadership to put us in this position. And again, this goes back to that interview from the Iranian commander, right? They know and understand that we have leadership that is incompetent, that is inept. They know. Listen, when you listen to someone like that say, we now realize that the American military is weaker than we thought. That's a fucking problem. When your quote unquote enemy perceives you as weaker than they thought, and they know that your munition supplies are low, when they know that their people, right, their people can withstand this longer than Americans. Listen, y'all, Iranians are used to the suffering that comes from American sanctions and American involvement in their country. U.S. citizens are not used to it. They are used to the suffering. They understand the cost of war and conflict. We do not to the degree that they do. And it's so important that we understand that and that we keep that in mind. All right. Good morning, James. James, are you there? Thanks, blessed and grateful. Cam, is it just me, or do I have two Nisi G accounts that are both requested up at the same time? So while we wait for James to join, I want to go back to, because remember the report that I just read was about what happened in the first 39 days of this war with Iran. Now I want to talk about where we are today, as of August 4th. So Reuters put out a report at the beginning of this month. So just last year, just last week. And here's what that report says, quote, the U.S. Army has used, quote unquote, virtually all of its ATACMS and precision strike missile supplies during the 5-month war with Iran, two sources familiar with the data told Reuters. The U.S. has also used a little less than half of its global supply of Tomahawk cruise missiles since the war began, according to another source cited by Reuters. The extent to which the U.S. military has depleted its stocks of Army tactical missile systems, which that's what's known as the ATACMS, and the newer precision strike missiles has not been previously reported. And the sources declined to say how many of those weapons remained. The long-range precision missiles allow U.S. forces to strike targets from a distance and would be important in a potential conflict against an adversary with strong air defenses, such as China. when asked about the stockpile data, the White House issued a statement from President Trump saying the U.S. had, quote unquote, far more munitions than anyone in the world and, quote unquote, far more than we need. Quote, our defense companies are at this moment making more munitions than they ever have made before, in addition to expanding their plant and equipment at record levels, end quote. And that's a quote from the President of the United States. Now, let me just offer this to you all. Even if you support Donald Trump, even if you support this administration, everyone understands when you listen to someone and every time they say something, it's more than, better than, greater than, higher than, lower than, best than, ever before, that is an indicator that someone is lying out their fucking ass. Everything he says, whether it's from fucking hot dogs to Patriot missiles, it's always better than, ever in history. It just cannot be true. It cannot be true. And you don't just, listen, y'all, you don't just expand a plant in a day. You don't just expand your plant and your equipment and your ability to manufacture weapons like overnight. That's just not something that happens. It's not the way that it works. And so it's really important for people to kind of like, come on, y'all. Can we just use some measure of common sense? Yes, Jeff, and that's a great point. The jobs numbers would reflect a rapid industrial boom, and there's not one. Right? So coming on top of all of this, so if you look at like the reports that have happened in the last several weeks, right? When you look at those reports and you see concerns about our munition stockpiles, when you see information about our lack of strategy or our ability to get out of the situation that we're in, and then you see the reports that have now come out of the Stars and Stripes and the Navy Times and the Military Times and all of that, and you understand that there's a ton of really negative information out there that you got to try to get on top of, you'll do something like this. So today, the Pentagon announced framework, quote unquote, agreements with Boeing and RTX to increase production of components for SM-3 Block 2A and SM-3 Block IB missile interceptors. The agreements would strengthen the production of the ship-launched interceptors that underpin the Aegis ballistic missile defense system. However, I just want you all to understand, announcing framework agreements is not the same thing as having that production and that capacity taking place right now. Grand Rising, Baruti. Okay? It's just not the same. You can say, oh, we've announced the framework for agreements. And here's all I hear. I hear the military-industrial complex getting fucking richer and richer while children in America do not get the money that they need and the funding so that they can eat lunch at school, right? What I hear is we don't have universal health care for everybody. What I hear is more bullshit. We got into a war that we cannot win, that we don't have a strategy for how to win, right? We depleted our fucking stockpiles while we are absolutely filling the coffers of the rich. Okay, you're back. I see you're back. So this is your opportunity again to join the panel. I just sent you an invitation. You'll accept or you'll end up being muted. You know how this works. You're not new here. Right, Orange, paperwork, not actual production. Right, Tundra, framework. All right, so Kay Howe made a claim in the chat that I'm going to address because I don't like fuckery and false information. So his statement was, quote, "No child is starving in the United States of America." Thanks for joining the panel. Kay, can you provide your source for your data and information about food insecurity and or even the widely accepted definition of starving or what it means to go hungry in this country? Can you tell me the definition of what that means? Food insecurity, how we measure it? If you're speaking, I can't hear you. Okay, I can't hear you. Well, why don't you just try to rejoin? See if that helps. So I'm going to actually give you, facts because I like them. So I am on the Economic Research Service, U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA website. This page was updated March 30th of this year. Food security in the U.S., key statistics and graphics. And so approximately 14% of U.S. households were food insecure in this country. Okay. Food insecurity households are 13.7%. Households with low food security is 8.3%. Households with very low food security is 5.4%. So here's what this means. Sorry. Here are the definitions, because it's important to know the definitions and the language in which they work with. So food insecure means at times during the year, these households were uncertain of having or unable to acquire enough food to meet the needs of all their family members because they had insufficient money or other resources for food. Food insecure households include those with low food security and very low food security. And that is the only ones reporting. Right. And that's the only people that are reporting. Right. Low food security. These individuals, right, have obtained enough food to avoid substantially disrupting their eating patterns or reducing food intake by using a variety of coping strategies, such as eating less varied diets, participating in federal food assistance programs, or getting food from community food banks. And that's approximately 11 million households. That's approximately 11 million households. Very low food security, which is 7 million people in this country, 7 million households. What that means is in very low food security households, it means that normal eating patterns of one or more of the people in the house were disrupted, and food intake was reduced at times during the year because the members had insufficient money or other resources for food. So when you open your mouth and say no children are quote unquote starving in the United States of America, I would ask you, do you know the definition of starving? Do you know what it means to be food insecure? Do you know what it means to not have the resources? Because starving is just an asinine word to use. Because we shouldn't have children starving in the US. We also should not have children that are malnutrition in the United States of America. We should not have children that are experiencing food insecurity in this country. So if your win is to say, oh, they're not starving, yeah, but they are going hungry. But they are going hungry, and that is unacceptable in the greatest nation in the world. Just to be clear. Jeez, oh Pete. There's another report from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities that talk about the 2 million young children in the U.S. that live in food insecure households in 2023. 33.6 million adults. 33.6 million adults and 13.8 million children, including 2 million that are under 3 years old, live in food insecure households in 2023. 2 million babies, 3 and under 3. But we want to brag about being the richest nation in the world. We want to make fucking penis-shaped rockets and send them to Mars. We want to focus on building as many more data centers as we possibly can, while 2 million children under the age of 3 are living in households that are food insecure. Congress, I would like a fucking word. State legislatures, I would like a fucking word. Governors, I would like a fucking word. And this is why they want you to be worried about Muslims who don't give a fuck about you, who are not interested in taking over anything, so that you don't have to hear about the fact that in the United States of America, 2 million children under the age of 3 live in households with food insecurity. That's why they want you to focus on who might come into a bathroom and piss, so that you don't have to hear that the American government has let 2 million children that are under the age of 3 live in households with food insecurity. Crazy work. So one of the reasons why at the top of this graphic today, I have the Iran leadership gives rare interview to Western media, because we absolutely need to be listening to what this particular commander said about our country and what they see, right? Well, Gonzo, I invited you up here yesterday, did I not? But you were an asshole. So if you can come up respectfully today, that you and I can have a conversation about Islam. But that's going to be the deal. You're either going to be respectful or you'll be muted and blocked. I don't really care. But since you're on this app, literally spreading the hate that I'm discussing, you're more than welcome to come up here and talk about it. I am going to tell you, though, that it is my live. It is my platform. So you'll be on mute until I get to you. I will address you. I will ask you the questions. I will lead the conversation like every other person does when you are in their space. If that's not something that you can do, then don't join. I think that there's an issue, Cam, with TikTok, because I'm seeing it having doubles of lots of people. Like there's even a double in the request from James. Yeah, so Gonzo, I don't care about your opinion of like whether I'm on the right side of history or not. I'm on the right side of the present. So again, this is your opportunity. Are you able to have a respectful conversation as a grown adult? If you are, feel free to accept the invitation that I just sent you. This is the only opportunity that you're going to get. because this is my assessment of you. My assessment is that you're not interested in a real good faith, fact-based conversation. I think you want to argue. I think you want to talk over people and yell. I don't think you want to actually have a fact-based conversation. And I think because I am requiring you to simply be respectful and to have a fact-based conversation, you would rather sit in the chat and spew nonsense than get up here and have a conversation. That's my assessment of you. And so let me just be clear, folks. When we watch anything that happens, right? So listen, it doesn't matter whether I'm watching Megyn Kelly, Don Lemon, or Fox News or CNN. When someone has a guest on their panel, then that person introduce the guest, they greet the guest, and then they ask questions, and then they guide the conversation, correct? And it doesn't mean that the guest doesn't ask questions. The guest can ask questions, right? But it is the person whose platform you are on that guides the conversation. We understand that, right? So being as how this is my platform, then I will guide the conversation. So if your delicate male ego cannot handle, right? Yeah. So again, so you don't like yes or no questions but facts can be answered with yes or no. And I didn't even, so let me just share this. I'm not going to be boxed into yes or no questions. I didn't box you into yes or no questions yesterday or whatever day it was that you came up here. I just required you to be respectful, and you could not do that. And that is why you got dropped. So either you can have a respectful conversation or you can't. And I don't think you can. And if you're not going to join my panel and have a respectful conversation, what I'm not going to do is let you sit in my comments and spew misinformation that's not accurate or Islamophobia. So that's okay. Like, you don't want to join the panel and have a conversation? Don't. Be muted and booted from my space, because I'm not going to let you sit up here and spew false information or Islamophobia. You don't got to get up here. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you think the context for what you were getting into was. It doesn't matter what you believed the context was. Right? What I told you is that I was going to guide the conversation. And instead of allowing me to level set the conversation, you kept interrupting, you kept talking over me. Therefore, you got booted. That's not difficult to understand. So see this, you're a muzzy hugger. So now you don't exist in this space at all. That's a firm ass block. And when I block, it's a forever block. Yeah, so now you're blocked. So when you say you're a muzzy hugger, yep, I am. I will hug Muslims. I will hug Christians. I will hug liberals. I will hug Republicans. I will hug children. I will hug human beings, because I don't discriminate based on people's religion. That's it. I don't discriminate based upon religion. The only time I give a fuck about your religion is if your religion is being weaponized and utilized to infringe upon the rights of other people. That's it. Not difficult. James, good morning. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. What homework have you done?
to some of the candidates and read more upon the different candidates. I looked at the gentleman from Michigan, no, the Wisconsin, the governor, the Democrat who's trying to run for governor, and I thought that was a good win for us. I also did some research from the guy running for Senate in Michigan, and continue to look at the mayor from New York. And I think we're moving in the right direction. And I'm going to continue to do what I need to do in terms of people getting out to vote here. But I thought you made some good points, and you get a lot of positive information. And one of the things is a math person. That's what I try when I use the term diminishing returns. It was good to suggest that we were not in a position to even get into a war because our weaponry was not up to where it needed to be. And a lot of our leaders knew that and took the place down. You illustrated how we're in a worse position than we were before. And we're always, I kind of think there's several people that I think are bully countries, and bully countries are going to get behind the sub-countries to interact between each other because they don't want to directly get into conflicts with each other because there's too much to lose. So we fight through smaller countries, and Israel talked this man into getting into this unnecessarily, and that's what I believe happened. And we needed to win in November, but we definitely need to redirect our efforts in 28 to getting somebody who's more sensible. Because I don't try to say that no Republican is sensible. They don't align with what I think we should be when it comes to the poor and to education and to healthcare. But there is a place for them, and because to me, we need to get the deficit down. Now, whoever comes and finds a way for us to get the deficit down, we just can't keep going in the direction we're going. And we spend too much money on our defense, and that's why we need NATO. He came in and he helped persuade NATO to increase their efforts and their monies.
So is that accurate though, James? Did he come in and persuade NATO to increase their efforts, or was that something that was already in progress under the Biden-Harris administration? Do you know?
And that might be the case, but I do believe NATO needed to increase from up at least 5 to 10%, so that we wouldn't have to dedicate so much of our money to it, because we cannot safeguard the whole world.
So this is the thing. I love it when people say that we can't safeguard the whole world. Do we understand that part of our value to the world is its safeguarding because of how we chose to structure our country? So this is no longer a manufacturing country. We are no longer the industrial manufacturing leader of the world, right? And so that means, what do we have to offer the world? What do we have?
What I thought we had was the sensibility to not get involved or be able to stabilize the conflicts in the world. The two last times when we think in terms of World War I and World War II, that we had to come in and keep someone from just totally dominating Europe. And so it's important that we play our role in just keeping the world in peace, is what I think.
So this is one
I'm
of
not happy.
Go ahead.
I'm not happy with this conflict that this man, he went from a conflict in South America now to this conflict in the Middle East. And we just, under him, we keep moving from conflict to conflict. He said he had to quiet that down about Cuba. He wanted to move to a conflict with Cuba. And here we are already making life worse for the Cuban people, not letting them have the oil that they need. That's crazy.
Okay, so just for the record, in 2020, only 9 NATO members spent at least 2% of their annual GDP on defense, according to NATO. In 2024, at the end of the Biden-Harris administration, that number was 23. Right? So increase in our NATO partners spending in their own defense significantly increased under Joe Biden's administration, first and foremost. In addition to that, there was already an agreement under the Biden-Harris administration for that percentage to raise, to increase. So give me 1 second. All right. So in so let me just be clear. So in 2014, there was a something called the Wells Investment Pledge, and that pledge set a non-binding guideline for members to aim for 2% within a decade. And then it surged significantly, largely because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And so 23 out of 32 allies hit that mark by 2024. Several of them, like Poland, Estonia, and the US, are already between 2.5 to 4% of their GDP during that same period. So there was a new goal that was adopted that built on this. What was the pledge called? It was called the 2014 Wells, W-A-L-E-S, Wales Investment Pledge. So this is something that was already kind of in the works and underway. So I just want to be clear, Donald Trump did not come in and convince people to spend more on defense. It was already a thing. Just being clear, so that we understand.
And I actually believe you, but you know, he carries on always, talking about I'm the best at this, I'm the best at that. And one of the things people need to realize, anybody who has to come tell you that they're the smartest and they're the best really aren't. Because it's easy for people to recognize who the smartest and the best are. You don't have to say that about yourself if you're truly that. And he does it all the time. The other day I heard him say the students or the kids, I'm better to you than your parents. And it's just ludicrous how he goes everywhere saying that. And the other thing, and I'm sure you're aware of, just like the Kennedy Center, he couldn't put his name on it. Now he wants to say proved and better by Donald Trump. It's just crazy why he has this need to put his name everywhere.
But this is my thing. Here's what irritates me the most about that is if I were the media, what I wish the media and people would do is just stop fucking talking about it. Stop talking about whether or not he puts improved by Donald Trump on the fucking Kennedy Center. Who cares? I don't give a good damn. Do you want to know why? Because we can just take that shit off. We can just simply take it off when we get a stable democratic constitutional republic that is functioning for the benefit of the working class people. And I just want people to stop talking about the asinine, ridiculous things that he does, especially when it comes to putting his name on things. I literally don't give a shit.
But don't you, I guess for me, Danny, just like him putting that arch up, and I just hate that he focused on non-important issues, and that we just need to, he's our president. He's not supposed to be altering the landscape of our world to live out his legacy. I don't want to be marked up like that.
So here's what I'm more frustrated by, okay? I am more frustrated that the president of the United States is focusing on non-important thing, and the rest of the fucking world then starts talking about all the non-important things that he's focusing on instead of focusing on the actual facts that fucking matter.
Okay.
So if he's focusing on unimportant things, what are you doing by going around talking about all the unimportant things he's focused on?
Okay. I won't disagree with that.
Well, good.
You're right. But the issue is he's spending millions on that arch, and then we have to come back and destroy it.
So
we wasted millions.
So we already know that, and that's not relevant today. I don't give a fuck about spending millions for that arch if we can save democracy in the country. If we are able to close the loopholes that have been exploited by this administration, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I don't care. We will deal with that arch whenever we fucking get there. I don't care. What I care about right now is doing what we need to do to shore up the country and Congress and our state legislature and the Supreme Court and our federal judicial appointments. That's where the focus has to be.
Right.
The rest of that, we'll get to it when we get here. I don't give a damn if those columns stay there for 10 fucking years. I don't care. As long as we are doing the work that we need to do to shore up the country. Period. So, Nightwolf, apparently you don't understand what the country is. And if you want to talk about it, you're welcome to join the conversation.
And we definitely need to put in place something that says we don't want no convicted felons to be president. I don't know.
No, that's just dumb. I should never have to make a fucking law that says we don't want convicted felons to be president. We should have an engaged body of people that knows better than to vote for a fucking convicted felon to be president. I do not listen. If we have to make a damn constitutional amendment that says a felon can't be president, then Americans have fallen all the way fuck off, and we deserve whatever we get.
True.
Nobody should have to tell your dumb ass not to elect a fucking fraudster. Nobody should have to tell you not to elect someone that has committed sexual violations against a woman and been found guilty, adjudicated guilty in court.
Yeah, true.
And by the way, Luigi pled guilty. Luigi Mangione, breaking news, folks, says, quote, I shot Mr. Thompson, and pleads guilty on federal charges linked to the healthcare CEO's killing. He told the Manhattan court today, quote unquote, I knew what I was doing was illegal. And he changed his plea on the federal stalking charges. So I just wanted to let you all know that literally just came across. That is what's happening right now in federal court in Manhattan. I haven't seen the details of the plea agreement, but it is what it is. And let me just say this, folks. I don't have a problem with this plea. And I think that accountability is okay for the actions that we choose. I also, and this is why, so can I just come back, you all, and say, this is, so let me just, okay. When we think about people taking actions, it's not about are the actions, quote unquote, deserved? Are the actions, quote unquote, justifiable? Are the actions, whatever, reasonable? It's not about whether or not you believe that they did the whatever, right? It's about, is what you're going to do actually going to change things? And I don't know that what he did has had a significant impact or change one way or the other. As a matter of fact, it may have made it worse. I have now seen videos of specialists talking to peer specialists trying to get insurance approved for patients, and them refusing to even, like, literally the peer doctors refusing to identify themselves and hiding behind what happened to Brian Thompson as a reason for maintaining their anonymity. Like, this one doctor was like, but how can I verify that you're really a physician? How can I verify that you are really a peer of mine with the understanding to be able to even have this conversation? If you will not tell me, like this, I'm a surgeon. If you won't tell me who you are, how can I verify that I'm actually speaking to someone qualified to have this conversation with me, right? As a medical professional. And so I don't know that it did any good. And I'm just saying, this is why we have to think about the way that we go about doing things. And if the way that we choose to do things is going to improve things or make it worse or not change anything at all. So just saying, I think, here are my thoughts, to be quite frank. I think Luigi is going to be just fine. I think there's going to be enough women all over the fucking world to send his ass to keep his commissary full. He will be just fine. He will write a fucking book. He might do some interviews from prison. He might, I think he'll be fine. And it's sad to see that this is where his life is. I'm just being real, y'all. Y'all know I'm pragmatic as fuck, right? I'm just pragmatic as fuck. I think he will be just fine. And I hate that this is where, because apparently he's a really brilliant, really articulate, Jeff, individual. And I hate that this is where he went. But it just is what it is. How do I feel about the CEO's family? What do you mean? How do I feel about them? What do you mean?
What he did just didn't serve a purpose or a meaningful purpose.
Yeah. So listen, folks, this is what
violence is not acceptable.
Right. Everybody already knows this. I do not, and I said this before, I do not support or celebrate the death of anybody, right? I've already said that repeatedly. And I think it is horrific. And one of the things that we talk about in this space all the time is that whoever someone is, right, to you, there's someone else to someone else, right? So for many people, Brian Thompson represented the loss of their healthcare insurance. He represented their loved ones dying because of the insurance policies and all of those types of things. But to his family, he was a husband. He was a father. He was a whatever, right? And so those people are going to mourn his loss, as they should. That's their loved one, right? So my ability to sympathize with a family doesn't have anything to do with whether or not I am saddened over over that person leaving this earth, right? I can have sympathy for the family and what they are experiencing without me being saddened over this individual. Because, like it or not, that individual did a shit ton of harm. And one of the things that I think we do a disservice is by acting like there's anything different just because you are sitting in a suit in a corporate building in a corner office making decisions that you know will kill people is no different than making those choices walking down the damn street.
Right, but ultimately, he got replaced by the same kind of person.
Correct. Which
So
is
you didn't do anything to alter the situation.
which is exactly what I just said.
Yeah,
Yes.
you alter it by putting a different person as the CEO of putting a changing policy.
Well, so here's what I know. CEOs and corporations, especially these large pharmaceutical, insurance, medical companies, I don't expect for their leadership to do the right thing by people. Why don't I? Because historically, that's not a thing. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work. It doesn't, like, it's just not a thing. I said it Sunday and I'll say it again. If we could rely on corporations to do the right thing by people, we wouldn't know who the fuck Aaron Brockovich is. There would have never been a need for her ass. Okay? So that's the thing. So that what we actually need, James, if we want to change the insurance industry, then we need to change Congress. And we need to change the laws and the systems of how healthcare works in this country.
Right. And when they get adequately punished, then they'll make a change. Like
So tell me what adequately punished is. I want to know.
They're punishing their bottom line and putting some of them in jail when they do the wrong things.
Yeah, so let me be clear, the way that the current system works, when we have individuals, so let me just, the most clear example that I can give you is Rick Scott. When you have an individual that can commit the largest healthcare fraud in the fucking history of the country to the tune of $1.7 billion with a B, and then that person can go on to become the governor and the fucking senator and the advisor to the president after committing billions of dollars of healthcare fraud. Listen to me. There is no fucking accountability within our healthcare system and our government for these individuals.
Right, because he deserved to be locked up. And I'm from Florida, and I knew about that the whole entire time. And it was crazy that he got elected to governor and then to the Senate after what he did. And what he said was, I didn't know.
No, he did know, which is why he was removed by the board. So the board removed him in 1997 after the first IRS FBI raid. So for people that do not know, this went down in two sections. The first section of the fraud went down in 1997. The second section went down in 2003. So just right with a $230 million severance package. Exactly. And so we do this all the time. We allow these individuals to defraud the government. They get a shit ton of taxpayer dollars for their businesses, for the treatment of American citizens, right? They defraud the fuck out of us. Then they make a deal with the government where they pay back pennies on the fucking dollar of what they stole, right? And then they just go on to other companies and they keep doing it. They're never prosecuted. They're not put in jail. They're never held to account. And then they get fucking federal pardons. Listen, look at Diana Harshbarger's husband. So for those of you who do not know, Diana Harshbarger, congressional representative in the state of Tennessee, in District 1, her husband, Bobby Harshbarger Sr., they owned a pharmaceutical company, a medicinal company together. She was an officer, according to the paperwork of that company. He bought and sold fake ass pharmaceutical drugs for patients on dialysis in Kansas, right? Bought something from China, labeled it as something else, sold it to people, right? He committed healthcare fraud. He did a plea deal. In that plea deal, it specifically says that the government would not ever press charges on Diana, whom at that time they didn't have any evidence against, right? But that's what it says in the plea deal, that his wife would not be charged, who at the time of the plea deal, they didn't have any evidence against, but she was the secretary of the company. They were the two principal officers of the company. They owned it together. He cut the plea deal. She's now in fucking Congress. His son is now in the Tennessee state legislature. And his ass out there ripping up fucking signs from other people. So literally, like, I don't want to hear it. And so we choose not to hold them accountable. And that's what's wrong with the system. That is what's wrong with our government. And that's what has to be changed. And then people have to get engaged. And listen, this is what I keep saying. If your bigotry, your hate, your religion are getting in the way of you actually looking at issues and facts, then you are the problem. So, just saying. Moo, if you can give me 1 second, I want to get to you. James, let me put you on mute. Mods, can I get a mod break just to empty my bladder, refill my water? And then Moo, I'm going to go to you next. Can I get a mod? I'm trying to see who's in here. Awesome. Yeah, I don't care who it is. I just need a mod that can allow me to take a quick bio break and refill my water. That's it. Yes, a Mooney. That works. I'll be right back.
Hello. Anyway, guys, this is your girl, A Money with the shmoney. I'm just kidding. Hi guys. Dani's at 366,000K taps. We can definitely get it to 400K before she gets back. She's doing a little bathroom break or water break, whatever it is that she's doing. So let's get the taps up. If we can all double tap like 5 times till the power bar goes up, that'd be greatly appreciated. She has about 727 members on her team. Let's get that up to 1,000. We can definitely do it. If you haven't already dropped your heart me, please do so now. There's an orange heart all the way at the top. Press it again to claim the points and be counted as part of her team. And there's only 322 shares, guys, and there's 332 people in the room. That doesn't make sense. The math is not mathing. So can all 300 people share to at least 10 different people? That would help boost her up. She deserves like 1K viewers in this room because, she's always educating and she's an educator, period. Hi, chat. Just reading the comments. Love you, y'all. Yeah, keep tapping. There's also a new feature to post a highlight. So if you click the orange heart me at the top and you scroll down to, I don't have it here. Maybe it's on my other account. I don't know, they be bougie with these things. But anyway, but you guys can repost. If you repost, press the arrow at the bottom, repost, and you can also share it to your story if you can, which I'll be doing. I already shared it to my other account. I don't know if I shared it to this one. But yeah, y'all can repost and share it to your stories. That'll also help boost her up and, get my girl on the algorithm to the FYP page.
Yeah, girl, they was mad at me. I showed a video from Betselem today. And so I had to restart my live because I got a visibility thing.
Yeah, I hate those. Those visibility ones are the worst.
Yep. And it wasn't for 10 minutes. It was literally for the whole fucking live. So I had to restart. Yeah. So what I shared at the beginning of the live, and I appreciate you for the mod announcement, was it's a report that Betselem put out in June, specifically about the number of teens and children killed in the West Bank. And there's not a lot of people that talk enough about that. But they did a full-on investigation there. The names, the ages, and the circumstances of all of the children are included in it. And so I played the video and I was like, I'm probably going to get a visibility, whatever, but I don't give a shit. And so I just restarted. But the video and the report are in my link tree if anybody missed it and you want to take a look at it. I didn't know there was a video, so I'm going to check that out. Yeah, so A-Money, the video shows, oh my God, the one boy, it's just horrific because he's still alive and he's sitting up. And literally they say the boy is still moving. He's just sitting up. And then all of a sudden he just falls out. They just let him bleed out is what they did. But it's a collection of videos. And so it's the faces and the ages and the names of those individuals. And it's also clips from some of the actual unalivings themselves. It is a lot. So it's in my link tree. If you missed that earlier today, please go check it out and make sure that you share the information. So.
Dani. Also, they're stealing homes. I think this week they demolished over 20 homes so far. For settlers. So, yeah, there's also that.
100%. Yep. So, appreciate you, Aimoni. All right. So, I'm just going to level set, and then I'm going to go to Moo, the tuxedo cat, next. Folks, if you are new to me, please do me a favor and just follow the guidelines in this space. I only ask for 4 things. Ask that you be respectful, that you don't use slurs, that you don't spam my comments, which means don't say the same thing 5, 6, 7 times. It's not good for the chat. And then last but not least, don't type in all caps. And that might seem like very minuscule, but I have individuals that are in this community that are vision impaired. And so all caps are reserved for those folks. And my moderators only. So if you can do that, then we can have a conversation and we're going to get along just fine. All right. Hey, Money, let me know if you want me to drop you or not. And let me just say this, sis, we are going to do a Pally panel. It is just going to be limited because things are tight for folks with kids going back to school. So it's going to be probably just our usual folks. And maybe like 1.5K, you know what I mean? Like it's just people are tight. So, but I'll let you know when we're going to do that. All right, Moo the tuxedo cat. Good afternoon, and how are you?
Hello, how are you? Thanks for bringing me up. I appreciate it.
Yep, you're welcome. So what is your age for TikTok purposes?
I'm 45.
Okay, awesome. And what would you like to share?
Oh, so I heard you ask Too Tall what America had to offer since our military was revealed to be a paper tiger by Iran, and we can no longer offer like military protection like we have. I think really what we're relegated to is our consumerism, because Trump really just handed the world economy over to the BRICS and is going to relegate us to a Western Hemisphere hegemon. But I do think that this is a good opportunity to revamp our military, cut the military budget. I mean, obviously, our military is a slush fund at this point if we can't even beat Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam. So I think it's clear to us at this point that we need to reduce our military budget and invest in programs for the middle class and draw down on the amount of military that we have at this point because it's been proven to all be a paper tiger.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that's interesting. Sorry, I just needed to pull this. I was pulling up some other things to talk about. So I do think that our defense budget needs to be cut, right? I don't know that I would refer to the country or our military as quote unquote a total paper tiger. What I would say is that there are different agendas that have been at play and involved in our conflicts around the world. And so that has, like when you say, since we can't, quote unquote, since we can't even beat Iran, I don't know that that's an accurate statement because I don't even know what that means, right? Because like if the United States of America wanted to drop a nuclear weapon on Iran, we could. And would that technically be winning? Maybe, right? But that's not what winning is. And so I think the problem with our war in Iran is there was no clear objective. And the
issue, and Dani, just to tell you just how I feel, when that happened to Japan, we took that off the table for everybody. Nobody can do that anymore, participate in that more if you're going to be humane. Because that was very inhumane no matter what you say. We can't go to that point with taking lives away anymore to any other. So that's off the table. And that's why we need to be aligned with NATO. And it's not good for no one country to be too powerful.
Hey, hi, this is welcome. I know these questions on. I
So-
think our purpose there was shady on purpose and unclear on purpose because it's really to serve Israel. And I don't think that Donald Trump is just going to come out and say, hey, we're going in to facilitate the Greater Israel Project. Everybody hop on board with Israel and, get on board with Miriam Adelson. I think it's on purpose.
Jay,
So yeah, so listen, I agree, but so this is my thing. I want us to be clear though when we're talking about it, right? So I think most of us would agree that that our initiation of this conflict with Iran was at the behest of Benjamin Netanyahu and served his purpose and his plan for the Greater Israel Project. That being said, it doesn't change the fact that it's not that we can't quote unquote beat Iran. It's that there was no real clear definition of what that means to beat Iran, right? And so this is the part that I don't think people, kind of are putting everything together. Our military in and of itself is not a paper tiger. It can absolutely be used. It absolutely is lethal. It absolutely does do lethal things around the world. I just also don't believe that lethality is the only measure of an effective military. I believe that there are other measures that make your military effective. And we just don't have an administration and leadership that is properly utilizing that. And because of our because of our relationship with the military industrial complex, then it is, I would agree that it is quote unquote a slush fund to some degree. That also doesn't mean that so I want to get away from the polarities, right? Like the Department of Defense can be a slush fund and we can still have an effective military. Like those two things can be true at the same time. We can need to cut the budget for the Department of Defense and still maintain a healthy, viable, modern military that is effective. I think what has to happen though is you have to first define what that is, right? What does it look like to have an effective military in 2026 and in 2030? And what's required? And is that different from what it has always been? And I would say, yes, it is. And so all of those things, I think that there's just different places of intersectionality where the existence of one thing does not mean, the absence of something specific. I think that we need to leave room for the duality that exists in these conversations in order to develop something that actually truly does work for the benefit of the country, especially as we exist in a geopolitical environment.
I agree with you that the military definitely needs to change. I don't know how effective we really are because Iran was able to target our logistics very easily and cripple the world's greatest navy in a matter of under a month, really. So I don't know if I'll agree with you as far as the military not being a paper tiger or a total slush fund, but I will agree with you that it needs to change.
So let me ask you, Tuxedo Cut, have you ever served?
Yeah, I was U.S. Navy from 99 to 2005. I did 2 tours in Iraq.
Okay. And so would you agree that the ability to neutralize or not neutralize our military in any particular area has a lot to do with the overall strategy of the mission and the folks in the highest levels of leadership, right? Because what are you neutralizing if you don't actually know what the game plan is? It's not as if the Navy went into Iran with a particular agenda of what they were going to accomplish. So when we say neutralize them, in what way? Did they have a clear objective to start with? I don't know that that's the case.
I mean, part of that is because we've had the weakest leadership ever doing it. I mean, when he first came in talking about he was smarter than the generals, you had a person come in who just wasn't capable of understanding how the world worked in terms of military.
Yeah.
They ain't never been in the military.
Right.
I mean, it isn't this instance that we got battered, right? We've gotten battered in Vietnam. We got raffle stomped in Afghanistan. I mean, it isn't a one-time thing. There are many examples where our military has fallen very short, where they've advocated us that we should be very strong and very successful. So this isn't a lone situation. This is a reoccurrence over and over again.
But here's what I would ask you is, what is the commonality? What are the commonalities between Vietnam and Iraq and the places that you just named? What's the commonalities?
America's unfettered need to be imperialist and unbridled scaredom of communism.
Well, that was the common, that's what they used. But what you found were objectives. So, hey, folks, I went ahead and brought Raja up. So the commonality is that there was no clear objective. The commonality is that it wasn't our war to be in. The commonality is it wasn't for a clear. It was for the military. Like that's literally the commonality, right? So when you talk about Vietnam, what was the win exactly? Like what would have been the win, right? And so I think it's really important that we identify that that's the similarities.
I can come to an agreement with you all.
And part of that was because we were trying to support South Vietnam, but didn't actually understand the lengths those people would go to keep them from being two separate countries. Okay? They were not going to allow South Vietnam to exist and be split like that. And so you can support the move for democracy when you have an opportunity, but you still need to understand what the playing field is like. They just did not want a split country like you have with North and South Korea. They didn't want a North and South Vietnam.
Yeah. So,
sorry.
No, go ahead. I was coming to you.
I think that any time a country starts to have any success with socialism or communism, it has to wave its flag, pretend it has a cause, go in there and screw everything up. And that's what
Yeah, and you would not be wrong, right? So when people say things like name a successful socialist government or name a successful whatever, one of the reasons why you can't name them is because we've gone in and toppled those countries at the first glimmers of real success under that ideology, right? And so, yeah, that's a thing. And so you're not wrong. I just think that so Tuxedo Cat, one of the things that I think is important though is to be able to acknowledge the different places of intersectionality, the root causes and the commonalities that we see in each of these things, and make sure that we're not drawing, causation just from correlation, because then it's not productive for how we move things forward and create something that truly does work. Because we absolutely need to have a modernized, effective military that works across the board. It's just gotta, we gotta see what that looks like and how it works, and then have leadership. And have leadership that actually knows how to lead. Hold on, James. James, hold on a second. I was talking to Tuxedo Cat.
Okay.
I agree with the points you're making, and I think one of the ways we move forward is and I'm so happy that it's happening this primary season, that we focus on getting the dark money out of elections.
Yep.
I think that that's a clear path forward to cleaning up the military budget. And the problems we have with the Pentagon not being able to pass their audits.
Correct. Yep. Never passed an audit. And so this is one of the things that I think. So Tuxedo Cat, are you familiar with SB 2471, the bill that was passed and signed into law in Hawaii? Are you familiar with that?
Unfortunately, I'm not.
Okay. So what they did was they wrote a bill called it's called limiting the powers of artificial persons, in other words, corporations, right? And so this is a state level bill designed to impact the level of corporate money, super PAC money, dark money in politics in the state of Hawaii. And people know that it's going to be challenged in court, right? However, it is a great move forward, and it gives us the opportunity to set precedent, right? So one of the things that that I've encouraged folks to do is to in Project for the People, I have a bunch of resources. This particular bill is one of them, along with a sample petition, and giving people the opportunity to get local signatures to support the passage of this type of legislation across multiple states. Imagine when you do that and you build, you have that being done across states, and then pushing Congress for a federalized version of that bill. One of the other things that we're talking about when we're able to get a progressive majority in the House and in the Senate is finally getting the Disclose Act passed, right? The Disclose Act has been initiated, good gosh, ever since 2010, right? And it was introduced this year too. And no Democrats are actually talking about it. So the Disclose Act was first put before the Senate for a vote right after Citizens United happened, right? And then nothing ever happened. The Senate didn't do it. And all it does is it doesn't get rid of, quote unquote, the dark money and the corporate money. But what it does is it requires transparency, right? It requires you to identify who are the individuals, who are the corporations that are behind the millions upon millions of dollars that are happening. And so even just that is a step in the right direction, right? Does that make sense?
Well, I agree with you. Yeah, you have to start small. We can't get money out all at once, but it's a start.
Yep. Yeah, A-Money. And it's not, so, and I need for them to understand, A-Money, it's not going to be a full-on Pally panel. Everybody's kids started school, so they don't have what they would normally have. So I'm literally only going to be able to do like a handful of our folks and do 1.5 to 2K to try to help out a little bit. People just don't have what they have. I know, I'm just saying, A-Money. So let me ask you this. So Tuxedo Cat, are you familiar with Project for the People?
Project for the People, no. Could you go over it with me?
Yeah, I will. Love it. And I appreciate it. So for those of you guys, I'm going to go over it with you too as well. Okay. So being on this app for 2 years following the 2024 election, everybody kept saying to me, what can we do about it? What can we do about it? What can we do about what's happening? Right. And so I didn't see an answer coming from anybody. So I took Project 2025, and then I took Project Esther, and I laid them out in front of me. And I wanted to look at what's the formula that these guys use to get shit done. Because whether you like them or not, whether they're using it for horrific things or not, they are successful in getting things to happen, right? What's up, Ronnie? And so I wrote this thing called Project for the People. And what it does is it is focused on there's different components to it, but the very first part is getting serious about winning elections. And so here's what I did when I say get serious about winning elections. The very first thing that I did, and I'll show you over here, is I looked at the 2024 election and the fact that we had 12 states in 2024 that had margins of 10% or less for the presidential election. But within those states, I looked at every county in all 12 states that also had margins of 10% or less. And if they had margins of 10% or less for the majority of the last 5 years worth of federal elections, okay? And then I looked to see, like right here, you can see, I looked to see what House seats those counties had in common, how many people in those counties voted third party, and how many of those people in those counties were registered to vote and didn't vote at all. And then it gives you a roadmap and a strategy. So I'm going to give you Michigan as an example right here. So Democrats lost Michigan by 80,000 votes. In 16 counties in Michigan, 16 counties, had margins of 10% or less for the majority of the last 5 years worth of federal elections. In those 16 counties, 47,000 people voted third party in the federal in the presidential election. That's 59% of the deficits that Dem lost by. And in those same 16 counties, 1.1 million people were registered to vote and didn't vote. So if I am the Democratic Party or progressives, and I am looking for the lowest hanging fruit, the places where I can have the biggest impact with the least amount of effort, right? Then this data tells me where to go and how to focus on that. So that's number one. Number one is getting serious about winning elections and looking at the fastest, easiest, most direct routes to make that happen. Number two is about building community and connection. And this is the part that people go, what? But here's my thing. What I believe is that when we have conversations on the actual issues and the facts, then we build connection with each other and we create understanding, even if we don't gain agreement. And if we understand each other, we are less likely, appreciate you, Bobby, we are less likely to hurt you or to vote for people and policies that would hurt you, right? So what I know is that it's just a matter of finding the right information and getting people engaged on the topics that actually matter to them. So what I did was I created a Google Drive. And inside this Google Drive is information that people need to know. And let me see if I can find really quickly. Yes.
Can I say real quick? I wish you were the DNC because I'm always so adamant about how they need to stop coveting Republican voters and older voters and boomers and how they need to find the people that you're talking about.
Yeah. And so this is what we do in this community. So this is what the Google Drive looks like when you get access to it. And so what I did was there are nationwide resources, there are state resources, and then in the middle, you see where it says sources and links. For every graphic that I have created, the link to that data, the link to that information is there so that people don't have to take my word for it. They can see it for themselves. And so then what I did was I created for every state in the country and then every congressional district inside each state, right? In English and in Spanish, I've given people access to information that they would need to know. For example, in North Carolina, District 6, 39,000 people are projected to lose their Medicaid because of the One Big Beautiful Bill. And also in the state of North Carolina, 61% of nursing home residents are covered by Medicaid, right? In that same district, I can show you that 29,000 children are going to lose some or all of their SNAP benefits also because of that bill. I can also show you that an additional 34,000 people are not going to be able to purchase their health insurance because of the expired tax subsidies, right? But in addition to that, I've also done graphics around data centers. And let me see if I've got one that I can show you really quickly. So I've done data centers by congressional district. I've done poverty levels by state. I'm like all of the different things are in there. And then I've also got, hold on. I've also done graphics. No. So I've also done graphics. So like the newest campaign is, so let me just show you, I get excited. So the newest campaign is called 3 Things That We Can Get Done. Okay. It's a effect on TikTok. So, so here's what it looks like. So one of the new, so I'll show you the data center graphics, but I'll show you my screen. I'll share my screen to do that. So let me show you. So here, this is what it looks like when you're looking at the data centers. Okay. And so for every single congressional district, I can show you how many there are total, how many are operational, how many are, yeah, a money, please. Yes, please. And so, but again, like when you go here, this is 3 reasons, right? So this is also another thing. I will in just a second, guys. Give me a sec. So here's the other part of it, Tuxedo Cat. So what I want people to do is to realize what is possible with a Democratic majority in the House and the Senate. because there's a lot that gets really possible if we come out on the other side of November with both of those things. And so one of the things that's possible is the ERA, right? So with a simple majority on the House and the Senate, Democrats would be able to remove the 10-year requirement for the ERA for ratification, and all of a sudden, Equal Rights Amendment would be added to the Constitution in the spring of 2027. After all of this time, it passed in 1973. It took until 2020 for it to get ratified by the 38th state, and so we could add it to the Constitution literally in 7 months from now, which would be incredible. So that's number one. Number two, and I'll show you. I have a graphic for it, of course, because whatever, man. Don't judge me. Okay, so here is this one. Okay, so when I look at the ERA, that's the first one. But then we could also use budget reconciliation. Budget reconciliation is the same tool that the Republican Party used to strip away Medicaid and SNAP benefits and give all the fucking tax cuts and gut the forestry and all of that. So we can use that same mechanism to put it all back, right? So we could do a budget reconciliation package and do that. Yeah, what's up, Tuxedo Cat?
Are you in favor of ousting Schumer so that we could potentially get rid of the filibuster?
So yeah, I'm not a Schumer fan at all. So I give zero fucks about. Yeah, I'm fine. And so we can talk about the filibuster in just a second, because it's going to come up in this next 3 things that we can do. So let me show you this other 3 things that we can do document. This one is where the filibuster might be necessary. So in order for us, and I think that Congress should be talking about this because they haven't talked about it since Kamala ran for office, is they should be talking about codifying the reproductive protections of Roe into law. And they should be talking about the fact that we could use a nuclear option to do that. Or we could look at getting rid of the filibuster, right? But also things like raising the federal minimum wage, doing the Disclose Act and getting the dirty money out of politics. All of that is there. So here's what we've done is over the course of the last 5 months, about almost 1,500 people have signed up to join Project for the People. And as of yesterday, we finally got our last state represented. But as of yesterday, we actually have at least one person in all 50 states. This is what we looked like before. We are in almost 550 counties across the country, which is almost 20% of the counties. And if you look at like a state like North Carolina, we have people in more than 35 counties in North Carolina. So follow me. If one person from every county minimum, right? If one person minimum from every county got 100 signatures, because also in the Google Drive is that sample petition I told you about, then you get connected together and now you have 5,000 signatures from more than a third of your state's counties, right? And now your state legislature has to explain why they don't want to pass SB 2471 in North Carolina, or the bill that New Mexico just passed. The bill that New Mexico passed and signed into law makes it illegal, even under the color of law, to deploy armed troops to election sites and to polling locations, right? Why aren't we implementing what these other states have done in our states? And so what we do is we meet every other Thursday, and I role play with people like how to have conversations. We go over the new graphics. We talk about strategy. We plan door night. We got people that go out and they knock on doors. They go to festivals, community centers, grocery stores, all the way around, handing out flyers. We have merch. So we have T-shirts and door knockers and tote bags and car stickers and hoodies and tank tops and mugs and all the things, right? And tumblers, yes, Candy Kiss. And so the idea is to get people active in their community so that they are having conversations that generate understanding, even if they don't gain agreement, because the understanding is how we move forward. And then the last part of Project for the People. So the first part is getting serious about winning elections, right? The second part is about building community through conversations that matter. where we're focused on the issues and the policies and how they really impact people. And the last one is government accountability. And the government accountability part is the part where I get really excited. So government accountability looks like a solid 2.5-year plan to get us back to the place where we have a stable, democratic constitutional republic that works on behalf of working class people. So here's what that looks like. So on the other side of this November, when we have a new Congress comes in the spring, in January of 2027, then that Congress can begin to do the things that you already saw me talk about, ERA and budget reconciliation and all of that. And then they can also begin the process of government accountability, which includes impeaching people like RFK Jr. or Pete Hegseth. I don't really care about touching the president. I care about the cabinet members because that's where a lot of the harm is being done, right? And for example, you might be able to get the support of folks like Cassidy and other folks coming off of a significant loss in the midterms, right? So that's number one. At the same time, you continue to find amazing challengers to establishment politicians, anybody that is putting corporations, religion, or a foreign government in front of the American people, then you find people to challenge them in the primaries. We continue to do that work. So then when we head into 2028, right, we now are set up for some real progress. And in 2028, we do what I call, we Mitch McConnell those motherfuckers. Yes, switch, it's time to switch out, people. And so what we do in, we Mitch McConnell those motherfuckers. In 2028, that's when you expand the court. You expand the Supreme Court to 13 justices, one for every circuit. You also add term limits, not just to the Supreme Court, but to all federally appointed judicial positions. Okay? And you do that because you have the majority in the House and in the Senate. So that means whoever that they want to put in for confirmation processes, they're not just getting a rubber stamp and getting them through. And then it's too close to an election for them to be able to actually get anybody appointed to the court. So you do that while you're building this incredible movement where people are talking to each other and building relationships and having community forums and getting out all of this information, so that when you get on the other side of 2028, hopefully what you have is a progressive majority in the House, the Senate, and a progressive in the White House. So when you go into 2029, you now have the ability to appoint a minimum of 4 Supreme Court justices, because you've already expanded the court, but you can also impeach and remove Alito and Thomas, which would give you 2 more, right? While you continue to do all the other things that we're talking about. So that is the totality of Project for the People, condensed into 5 or 6 minutes for easy TikTok consumption. So what I did was I bought a domain name called makingamericatruly.great.com. And you can go to that website, read information like what I just shared. You can enter your information in, and then you will get access to the Google Drive that's full of all the graphics. And all that I ask for people to do is don't share the Google Drive link with anyone. Operate with integrity. Don't remove my watermarks. You can share all of the graphics that are inside it, and you can share makingamericatruly.great.com. But don't share the other stuff, because I need to track who has access to it, because that's how I show that really great picture of the map. And you can see just how many people are involved. And that's how we can demonstrate the power that we have as a collective body together. So that is Project for the People. Mookat.
You described a huge swath of revisions I want to make to all the bodies of government. So I'm going to check out your bio. I do have to drop, but I agree with like 99.9% of everything you said. So I appreciate you, and I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, right back at you. Check out Project for the People. I hope we'll see you back. See you later, Moo. All right, folks. So yeah, A-Money, can we switch? Because I know that it is like, so A-Money, I don't know if you can let people know that it's not going to be a full panel like usual, and we're only going to be able to do like a few people for 2K. Yep. We need to get Mo up. You're right. Carla, you can go ahead and bring Mo up. Thanks. Which one is pink? So yeah, so that's Project for the People, folks. A-Money, I don't know if you can hear me or not. I know that Mo can do it for me. Mo, can you let them know that that it won't be a full, very extensive panel today for our folks in Pali? Everybody here, our kids are going back to school and whatever, so funds are just tight. So we're going to bring up some folks and help as many folks as we can. But I just want people to understand that it's not because we don't want to, it's just because things are tight for folks.
يا جاتش داني إخوانا في فلسطين ومن غزة هي بتحكي لكم إنه اليوم الوضع حيكون شوية ضيق لأنه هم بودوا أطفالهم على المدارس والأمور المادية شوية صعبة. هي حتطلع شخص وإن شاء الله بتقدر تطلع أكبر عدد. يعطيك العافية. شكرا.
Shukran. Thank you. Money said, I know what I'm doing. Girl, I know, but you wasn't talking to me, so I ain't know.
No, I'm telling the chat that they're like, oh, there's a lot of fake accounts here. I know.
Oh yeah, no.
Every single one of y'all.
Yeah, she knows the fake accounts. 100%, y'all. Money got this. So I appreciate it. So that's Project for the People. And so folks, it's about the midterms. It's also about 2027. It's also about 2028. It's also just about how we rebuild something and make something that works for working class people. And so that's the focus. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense and everybody is cool with it and understands what I'm saying. Yeah, girl. The whole strip is up in here. Cincy, it's
before I go down because I want to space.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Dan.
No, go ahead. Go.
Thank you. It's a small announcement I wanted to make because my current initiative is going so slow. I'm trying to do a battle to tomorrow. It's gonna be an official battle and it's all going for the initiative, not for me. It's an official battle. It's gonna be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. If anyone would like to join, I did make an event. It's on my story. You can register for free. It gives you notifications 30 minutes, 10, 15 minutes before. It would be appreciated if you guys could make it and boost the live because that will bring more people. We're still missing 2K for the final goal and for the initiative. Anything can help. I do have a direct link in my bio. I did make a post about it. So please show up. That would be appreciated. And thank you guys so much. Good to see you.
WMO.
Yep, WMO. Appreciate you. Okay, so
1 second, sorry. يا أهل غزة لو سمحتوا بطوا في الكومنتات ولا أنا راح أحط لكم كلكم ميوت. كل يوم بتقولكم وإن أنتوا بتيجوا شوي في الكومنتات عشان إحنا شايفينكم كلكم بس إذا أنتوا بتردوش عليها أنا راح أحط لكم ميوت وراح أخليكم في الريكوست شوي عليها لو سمحتوا. شكرا.
She said, don't make me mute your ass. Watch yourself in the...
I sure did.
Yep. Don't make me mute you. Don't be tagging all up in these damn comments.
Okay, they're laughing at me. Okay, LOL, period. See, exactly. Thank you.
Yep, I knew exactly what she said. Look, Raja just said, Imani is so strong. And then he sent a gif of WWE with a dude with a chair smacking the head over somebody.
Do you see anyone else in the request that you wanted?
Oh my God!
I see him, but I can't find him.
Listen, his sense of humor is just absolutely through the fucking roof. He is hilarious. I wish y'all could just see. Okay, so yeah, I definitely know that if we can grab Hussein because I know he needs medication. By the way, Money, I know that you have the LINKs for Wadmi and Abu Saraj, and so I sent something via Wadmi's and then Abu Saraj's as well. A couple days ago. Salam Hussein, how are you?
Thank you, Dani.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. For those of you guys who aren't familiar, hey sis, how are you? For those of you guys who don't know Hussein, he's a friend of ours who does have a tumorous cancer. It's in his neck. And he, you know, like many of the folks in Gaza, is not able to get out and not able to get the treatment that he needs. And so he just relies on the medication. So if you have the ability to help out, please do that. And because he needs the medication. He's not well. And if I'm right, Hussein, you can let me know if I'm right. I think you said there's a second tumor.
Yeah, there's another tumor from the left side.
Yeah.
Another is shown, yeah. And also on my throat, Dani.
Yeah.
When I eat now, I feel something stuck on my throat.
Yeah.
I need to get very fast medication. I'll get out from Gaza to get a medication immediately. But as you know, all borders is closed for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So
pray to me, please, Dani. Pray to me.
Always.
And also all your community.
Always,
thank you
friend.
for everything, my people.
Yeah.
You are people. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, you're more than welcome, friend. Always. You all.
Is that good, or you want to finish into 10?
Just finish into 10. If they're gonna take into 10, just take it. Just have him go to 10. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah, you're welcome. I have one of and Money, I can't remember which Abu Samir it is, but one of them, I know his wife is 7 months. I know you know Allah Shak is here. I think he just arrived. I see Zena as well. So maybe just like those last three. So listen, over here in this side of the world, Facebook, YouTube, Substack, and Twitch, I've pretty much done covering the pertinent information for today. So I'm going to shut down this live over here. I do appreciate you all for liking. I'm going to stay on TikTok for a minute just so we can finish helping out some of our friends that are in Palestine, that are in Gaza. Make sure that if you haven't already, that you do sign up for Project for the People. You can do that by scanning the QR code that's over here or going to makingamericatruly.great.com. You can do that there as well. We will meet on Thursday. Last night's meeting got interrupted, and I needed to go with a family emergency. So we will meet next Thursday and the Thursday after that for Project for the People. So be looking out for your email, and I will send you some information regarding that. Okay. All right. So I appreciate you all very much, and I will see you later.